mouth and do the right thing.
She grabbed me.
No,
She
Max, stand up for yourself.
Yeah. Why don't you pay for the fucking food if you feel so bad?
Max, it's not about the clothes.
Right. It's not.
Chill.
You don't care about the clothes, right?
I don't need this.
Me neither. Honestly, I don't need it. I don't need it. These clothes are covered in blood, Nano. This shirt you're wearing. It's covered in the tears of that poor lady. You understand that, okay?
What? You're fucking insane, Max.
Let's do it.
This sounds like a schizophrenic fucking.
That's
Max,
the right
you
thing
sound
to do.
fucking nuts. You sound nuts.
You don't want me
Max,
to pay.
I'm calling you out. You sound nuts right now.
You don't
Max,
want me
they're
to
not
pay
going to
for
take your money. Do you think they would take your money?
Obviously.
No, just think about it a little harder. No, just take it.
Isn't that what you wanted?
No, Max. You would not, Max. You sound nuts right now. You sound really crazy. Like, I'm ready to stop. I'm ready to stop. I can fucking roast you all night, Max. I don't want to. I'm ready to stop. You sound dumb. They're not going to take your money. You sound fucking insane.
I'm gonna ask you.
Your mental illness is showing, Max. Max, you're too cheap. No one believes you that you would ever do that.
I paid for the food.
Yeah, I know.
Mean? Exactly. And what did you do? What was convenient for you?
He's good at it. That's good at it.
My chat has so few mods that you can say whatever you want. You should hear the fire that's going on here. Go to my chat, guys.
Savage. I enjoy watching that. I enjoy that.
Yep, that's Alpha's already.
I'm watching this premiere on a slight delay.
Yeah.
You guys spoke to on the phone?
Was that you? The guy threatened me? What's your badge number?
125. All right, when you're done, just give us a call back, all right? Fill it out when you're done.
And do what? You hand it in? Am I handing it to you?
Sure.
You can hand. I'm handing it over to somebody else so you don't violate my constitutional rights.
Okay. Wherever you want to hand it to, follow me.
And I'm gonna film outside here. Cause I can do that.
When you don't come inside here, you're fine.
I'm not stepping anywhere I'm not allowed to be. I'm not in the mood to get arrested. But I expect you guys to do your job.
Not gonna arrest you. Just fill out the form, we'll go from there, all right?
Yeah, I'm gonna take it home and fill it out.
All right, that's fine.
And could I have a FOIA form too?
Pardon?
A FOIA form.
That's the only thing you get. That's the internal.
So are you denying me a FOIA request?
That's one thing we get.
So I'm not allowed to make a FOIA request here.
Nope, that's it. One thing you get.
Really?
That's internal affairs complaint.
You are aware it's against the law, right, to decline me?
You come back from the attorney, okay?
An attorney? You're an asshole, dude. You're an asshole. You know that? You're the type who beats people in handcuffs, bro. You're a fucking asshole, dude. You're an asshole, dude. I want to talk to him. You're unreasonable. Get him out here. No. Get him out here. You're an asshole, dude.
Damn.
Bro, don't take orders from him. What a fucking prick. You guys are assholes.
All right, so this is North Brunswick PD. As we heard Brian say, he was threatened over the phone, trying to get a complaint form. They won't give him a FOIA form. Let's skip ahead to a couple of days when they come to visit him at his house.
Wait, they come to his house? They come to his house?
The other guy in that video a little leeway. He couldn't really disregard the other guy's orders because one's a sergeant, one's just a patrolman, it looked like.
Didn't matter.
Could be wrong. Maybe the other guy was a lot higher rank, but I doubt it. It looked like he was just an officer. But let's get back to the videos and see what happens when they come by his house.
Can I help you? Can I help you?
Yeah. Everything all right?
Everything's fine. From here?
Yeah. Are you the only one home?
No.
Who else is home with you?
My girlfriend and my roommate.
All right.
Everybody's fine.
All right.
Nobody called.
Somebody called and they said it came back to this address and it said they told us there was yelling or something in the background initially, but they hung up and they haven't been able to get in touch with them since.
And nobody called. Everybody's fine.
All right. Can we talk to them real quick?
No.
No, we need to.
Well, you're not.
We need to.
It's not going to happen.
You don't understand how it works. We got a 911 call from this address.
Nobody called 911.
How do I know that?
Bro, do I have to prove something to you right now?
Yes, we have to speak with everyone who lives here to make sure they didn't call 911. As soon as we speak with everyone, we confirm everything's fine. We leave. That's it. We just make sure everything's fine.
What's your name and badge number?
My Phelan 182.
Name and badge number. Right there. Is that what you told me?
Why are you giving us such a problem?
Well, because you're over here shining a fucking flashlight in my apartment. You're over here shining a flashlight. Let me finish what I was saying. Into my fucking apartment. I mean, you're taking care of Christmas gifts, watching the UFC fight. You guys come over here banging like a bunch of fucking animals. No one called 911.
This is old.
You're giving me a hard time. You're still shining a fucking flashlight at me. Turn your flashlight off. Turn your flashlight off.
You're not understanding how this works.
Have a nice night, guys.
No.
Oh shit!
Remember, guys, this is the same PD we just watched him
Damn.
make a complaint at. Now, just days later, they're busting in his door, claiming that they got a 911 call from inside his home. We're fixing to see that they messed up royally, but of course they can't accept that they messed up and just get the hell out. They have to make excuses for why. Let's jump into the next one. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Oh my god.
They said there was a 911. Whose cell phone? What cell phone number? You gotta have it on record or file or anything?
732-940.
Number removed.
940
Number removed.
79.
Not my number.
Whose number is that?
It's not mine.
Number removed.
666.
No one's phone number here.
All right, let's get this sorted out then, so we're about to come back. All right.
What do you want to sort out? What have we not sorted out?
We sorted. It's a landline. Okay.
Okay, no, there's no landline here.
But there's still one registered to this house.
So what do you want me to do for you?
So there, we solved with a 911.
Okay, so get the fuck out now.
Sir.
No, no, sir. You just slammed the door at me. Get the fuck out of the house.
You don't close the door, please.
I don't give a fuck. You have no right to enter.
We do.
No, you don't. It's a warrantless entrance, so get the fuck out. Get out. Get out. I'm not giving you nothing. Get out.
Well, do you think they had a right to enter?
You don't close the door to police?
They had a 911 call. They're being told by somebody at the door that there's no one that called 911. And they have nothing besides that 911 call. Now they're saying that it originated in the house, but now they're saying there's no landline in this house. So what do you think happened? Did somebody mess up and give them the wrong address? Or because the cops are still saying that it originated from the landline that was established for the home, even though they have no landline in the home. Let me know what you think in the comments. I don't think they had a legal right to enter this home. I don't think, even if there was a landline, I don't see how they have a legal right to enter the home. If they don't hear screaming and stuff, exigent circumstances, and I don't believe the 911 call would be enough. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, you're not going to get it. Get out. Have I committed a crime? Am I suspected of committing a crime? I have a Fourth Amendment right, bro. Don't trample my rights. You're not going to get ID.
You do have a right.
Let's go.
We need your name so you can.
Not going to get it.
You want us to record that we were out here? What happened?
Not going to get it.
Okay, so when they call 911 again, you want them to come knocking on your door again. I want to record that we came here, we spoke with you, we confirmed that everyone in the house.
Not going to get it.
Nobody's number.
Not going to give it.
That is no longer
Not going to give you my information because of what you did with the door. Take your pompous prick ass, both of you, get the fuck out of the house. That's it. You pissed me the fuck off when you tried trampling in here. You banging on the door like a bunch of fucking animals. Came in here trying to throw your fucking fictitious authority around. Walking into my house without a fucking warrant. Get the fuck out, both of you.
We need your name, sir.
I'm not giving you nothing. Get out.
Sir, it doesn't have to be a bigger issue than it is.
I'm leaving, so.
241, can you provide an update?
Not giving you nothing.
We figured out the landline. Just an uncooperative homeowner.
Get out.
You don't want us to document what happened.
Get out.
No.
Did I stutter? Get the fuck out.
Why?
It is just you three folks in the residence?
Yes.
You're good, man?
All right.
Everyone's good. Get out.
Okay.
Get out.
Okay.
Get out.
We don't want to be an issue.
Name and badge number. 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 Name and badge number.
Let's close the door in case he's pissed off and push the door. Okay. And now he won't give us his info.
Who else is upstairs?
Girlfriend and roommate. Nobody here. It's a landline. Everything's good. We're just trying to get his info.
I want you to go. I'm not going to give any of you my information. You're not scaring me.
They're all saying that's just the truth. Everyone's saying they're fine. The number does connect to a landline. They don't have a landline.
So this guy now has 8 officers in his home, and this officer, he wants them to. It makes no sense to me. They have established that there is nothing going on here, that the landline, obviously, I don't know where the landline is, but it's not in this home. They should be out looking for whoever actually made the 911 call, because obviously it didn't come from this home. Instead, they're wasting all this time, all this resources, all this manpower to harass this man because he decided to stand up for himself. That's how I see it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let's get back to the video and see what happens.
Would you do that, like triple play thing and just not have the phone?
I'm not answering any questions. Please get out of my house.
You understand why we're here, right?
I don't care why you're here. Get the fuck out. Turn that off.
So
Turn that light off.
Let me explain this to you.
Jesus Christ. There you go. You see. How many of you does it take to see? What do you want to look
Can I
at?
explain something to you?
I don't want to hear what you have to
You have
say.
people you care about,
I don't
right?
care. Please exit my house.
You have people you care
Please
about?
exit my house. You're not one of them. Exit my house.
Very well.
Get out of my house. No.
So look at
If you send them out, I'll speak to you. Get them the fuck out of here.
Back out, let me talk.
Get the fuck out of here, especially you.
Have a
You
nice night, sir.
fuck off. Fuck out of my house, bro.
Have a blessed night, sir.
Yeah. Go fucking.
This guy's right there.
Go fuck your mother, you fuck.
I appreciate
He doesn't even know.
Not
what to
you.
tell him.
That's fine.
Fuck you.
That's fine. Thank you.
Fuck off. Get out of my house.
Sir, talk to me.
Sir, get him the fuck out of my house.
Step right there, that's fine.
Can they shut the door? Get him out of my house?
Shut the door with me.
Well, then I got nothing to say to you. I got nothing to say to you.
Listen to me like this. You have people
You see what I'm saying?
What department? Brunswick.
I have nothing to say to
you have
you.
people you care.
Brunswick PD. It says. I don't know what state. North Brunswick Township. North Brunswick Township. Is that? That's
Right?
Get them out of my house.
Sir, I'm trying to read.
Shut my door.
They can't shut the door with me.
Well, then you could all go fuck yourselves.
Sir, just-
All go fuck yourselves. I got nothing to say. You're not gonna get ID.
Sir, they're
I
not-
don't want to hear
sir,
an
they're not gonna
explanation
shut
or
the door with
nothing.
me in here. Respect
That's
everything.
fine. I'm not gonna touch you. I'm unarmed.
Sir, it's just
I got no.
matter-
I have a cell phone. Jesus Christ! If you're that afraid, you shouldn't be policed. Get the fuck out of my house. Sir, what?
Let me talk.
Then get them out of my house.
They are all literally
Shut.
after-
He has literally 1 foot in my
Okay.
house.
He'll take his foot out of the door.
Get his foot out of the door.
Okay.
I'm gonna be that fucking petty. Get your fuck. He's still in there. Get him
He'll move
out.
his foot and then we'll talk.
Okay, then get him to move his foot.
Listen to me.
Get him to move his foot.
Okay.
I feel like they've established they have absolutely no legal reason to be in his house. Even if they had a reason, and I don't think they did, to bust into his home like they did, I think they've established they have no legal reason to be there. So him asking repeatedly for them to get the fuck out, wouldn't they be trespassing? I mean, if it was anybody else, they would be. But because it's the badge, you get special privileges, right? I don't know. I don't agree with that. I know a lot of other people don't agree with that. I know a lot of people do agree with that. The badge gives you special privileges. You get to violate people's rights. And that's the other thing I want to get at. This officer keeps talking about you have people you care about, right? And I know where he wants to go with this. You would want us to check on them, right? Yes, please check on them. Don't violate their rights doing it. That's what you've done here is you violated this man's rights. You violated the sanctity of his home. You violated his privacy. You have kicked, you have pushed him, you have assaulted him with the door. And you'll show his bruise here in a second. I mean, it's just ridiculous the way these cops are acting. And just after he made a complaint, it's kind of funny.
It's private fucking property, right? This is how they act.
When we get 911 calls, we have to go.
Uh-huh.
You have people you care about. If something bad happened to them and we responded, you would want us to do everything we can to make sure they're okay. Right?
You guys are thugs. I don't think you would do anything.
So if somebody did something here,
I respect Edison. I don't respect North Brunswick.
We have a duty to make sure no one is injured.
That dude hit me with the fucking door. Look at that on my fucking arm.
Sir?
Hit me with the door. Is that on?
Yes, it is.
Hit me with the door.
Sir.
Look at it on your camera.
Are you interested in
Get them over here. No, I want you to get the fuck out of my house. I was having a great night watching the UFC fight, taking care of fucking Christmas gifts. You guys are banging here like a bunch of fucking animals. I don't want to hear what you have to say. I want you all to take your pompous fucking gang-related fucking activity asses and get the fuck off private fucking property. None of you live here.
Nobody's talked about any of that, sir. I'm trying to...
Okay, well, now I'm talking about it. Please exit. What do you want from me? What do you guys want from me?
This is my boss, sir.
Keep him away from me. I don't want you touching me,
We
dude.
don't know what's going on, sir.
Yeah, this is all.
You just sitting here, got to bang on the.
I have an internal affairs complaint on one of the sergeants, and now this shit happens. This is retaliatory. This is another one going to internal affairs. I'm telling you, you guys don't know how to fucking quit. Any of you. I want you guys to leave. I don't care. They don't care. They don't care. No one cares. We want you out. I don't understand, like, you guys can't take a fucking hint. You think you have a right to push my fucking door in. Your cops pushed my door, hit me with the door right there. I'm unarmed. I have a fucking camera.
Technically, what you take to instructions. They're on a lawful police investigation.
Then take me for it. I want you to take me for it.
So what is the crime you're investigating then? 911 call? It's illegal to call 911 now, I guess. Yeah, that's what he just said. That they're there for a investigation, an investigation into a crime. That would be the only way that you would have any kind of legal right there, I'm sure. Again, I'm not an attorney, but I'm pretty sure that the only way you would have a legal right to kick in somebody's door is if there was a crime happening and you had evidence of that. Barring a crime happening and you have evidence of that, a 911 call is nothing. They said that they heard screaming in the background. That's not against the crime. I mean, but against the law. Let's get back to this stupid shit. Let me know what y'all think in the comments.
I didn't observe it, but from what they're telling me. I'm just telling you technically this, okay?
Then let's go. I'll take it to court. I'm not. None of you are gonna fucking scare me and bully me. None of you. You guys try it all the fucking time. It's not gonna work. You push me around too much, and now this is what you get. Shouldn't have fucking pushed my fucking buttons all those times. You want to be up my ass on Route 1 driving like a bunch of fucking assholes? This is the response you get. Push my fucking door in, this is the response you get. Hit me with my own door, this is the fucking response you get. Don't push my buttons. This is private property. Now I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of you motherfuckers out here. What do you have to say that's going to justify any of this? I want to hear it.
You came out here to investigate a 911 hang-up.
Okay, did anybody call? Have you figured that out?
No, we haven't.
Okay, so what do you have to figure out? What do you have to figure out?
If anybody was in need of assistance, man.
No.
Does anybody need assistance?
I have zero need for assistance.
Perfect.
I'm trying to go back and finish watching this movie.
Exactly.
All right.
So can you please?
Yeah.
Please, okay, please go.
Perfect.
Have a good day. Take care. Take care. Bye.
Have a good day, man.
Yep, go fuck yourselves.
Links will be in the description. Go check him out. Like, share, and subscribe his stuff.
Muted Chink.
Shout out to Mr. D for funding my feed, man. Thank you, Mr. D. I appreciate you. We's out of here, man. We'll be back this afternoon for the evening feed.
there at the rail for me, please, sir? Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this cause to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self God.
I don't know, but this is, I don't understand what's going on.
I'm swearing you in as a witness. So,
What authority?
all right, very good. Is your name Manuel Mata?
Yes, sir.
Your date of birth is 7/8/1980.
Yes, sir.
All right. I have issued you an oath to testify truthfully. Are you going to take that oath?
I have a question, sir.
No. Are you going to take that oath?
No.
All right. You are on bond on some cases. Is that correct? Those bonds are being declared insufficient, Sheriff.
Passing Grass Road going eastbound. I got a black, looks like Mercedes. 13A, what's this location? Just heading south on 59th Grass Road. What's the description? Door model, black Mercedes, 4-door. No PC there. Stop.
Really?
You can get a tag. It's like a 2020.
YouTube has customer support. I didn't even know that. How do you get in touch with them?
Newer model.
Well, I mean, obviously they didn't do anything, so it didn't matter. So I guess.
Mercedes 4-door. I wasn't able to look at the tag, but if any of you can, that'd be great.
Welcome back to Open Government Investigations. This episode will shed light on malicious actions taken by a judge and defense attorney towards an individual named Manuel Mata. Manuel Mata is a local government watchdog and self-proclaimed citizen journalist located in Fort Worth, Texas.
So you're known for live streaming police misconduct. You were the first person ever to live stream a board meeting at the Tarrant Appraisal District. What made you want to become a citizen journalist?
I guess being lied on and done wrong by the Fort Worth Police Department. I agreed to a plea deal that I didn't truly understand. So I took myself to our law library and studied about everything that they could arrest you for. I was going to film them in traffic.
I'll bring up
so
superstition
I had to make sure
again.
I knew what they could use as
AD
far
News.
as jaywalking, pedestrian, walking in the roadway, and what it actually meant, not what they interpreted as.
So if people want to get involved, and anyone can become a citizen journalist, but what do you recommend where do they start?
You can use Facebook Live to start your encounters. And then you could use some of those videos if you want to. I mean, this is totally up to whoever, right? The way I did it, I started a YouTube channel and I got, I think, 1,000 subscribers in like 3-4 days. My whole thing is to expose them and to encourage other people, like to not only pick up the camera and record them, which is our First Amendment right, but also to be intelligent about what you're doing as far as knowing the basic laws, the actual penal codes. There's a whole bunch of avenues you can take to bring awareness to what's not only happening to you, but like your whole neighborhood where you live in, because it doesn't only affect me, because they don't just do this to me. I'm just the only one that got a camera and put them on YouTube. I just want to make people in my neighborhood smarter about the laws and their rights. This is not something that's been going on for 4 or 5 years. This is generations of police officers not liking being filmed.
Nerds.
Right? So it's like they figured if they have body cameras, that's enough for people to be satisfied. Oh, they're being filmed.
So they can pause it.
They can mute it. They can even say there is no video due to the previous thing being uploaded. We have paperwork that shows all this kind of stuff that they use, right? And the only way we can protect ourselves as citizens is have our own recording. And it's just crazy.
When you capture that live, there's a record. You can't say it didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. That's my whole thing.
As stated, Manuel Mata strives for citizens
Hey,
to be more involved and educated on various facets of the federal, state, and local laws, regulations, and ordinances. He also advocates for government transparency, namely in the law enforcement arena. Living in the information age, the general public has more tools available at their disposal than ever before to help disseminate information. In the 1972 case of Brandsburg v. Hayes, it was clearly established that the informative function asserted by the press can also be performed by lecturers, pollsters, novelists, etc., and that any author may contribute to the flow of information, including members of the general public. It was also established in the 2007 case of Glick v. Kniff that the government could not limit the stock of information from which the public may draw. Furthermore, in the 2010 case of Citizens United v. FEC, it was established that discrimination against the general public for disseminating information because they were not considered a corporate entity-based news agency was considered constitutionally suspect. Now, fast forward to December 20th, 2022, where we're inside Judge George Gallagher's courtroom during a hearing in the Aaron Dean case. For those of you who are not familiar with the case, I suggest you check it out after this video.
Mr. Brissett.
Your Honor, I believe Mr. Mata has raised this with his presence. We ask that he be sworn in and put under the rules.
Defense attorney Miles Brissett recognized that Manuel Mata was attending the trial. He asked the judge to have Mr. Mata be sworn in and to be put, quote, under the rule. The rule that he's referring to is a codified rule under the Federal Rules of Evidence, namely Rule 615, excluding witnesses. It can be invoked at any point in the trial, but generally it is invoked before the first witness testifies. When either side requests that the rule be invoked, the judge will then instruct all the witnesses except the parties or those who are exempt to leave the courtroom and not to discuss the case with anyone, except the attorneys involved or their investigators. So, essentially, what Miles Brissett was attempting to do was to call Mr. Mata as a witness so that he could invoke the rule, which would then require Mr. Mata to leave the courtroom.
Is there a Mr. Mata in the courtroom? You can stand right there at the rail for me, please, sir. Raise your right hand for me. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony given this cause to be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self God.
I don't know. I don't understand what's going on.
I'm swearing you in as a witness. So,
Under what authority?
all right, here it goes to the jury room.
Top of the morning to ya.
Everyone may be seated. Mr. Mata, is your name Manuel Mata? Your date of birth is 7/8/1980. All right. I have issued you an oath to testify truthfully. Are you going to take that oath?
I have a question, sir.
No. Are you going to take that oath? No. All right. You are on bond on some cases. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Those bonds are being declared insufficient, Sheriff.
What's going on? What did I do? I need my lawyer present, sir.
We will get you a lawyer.
You question me without a lawyer present. And I don't know what y'all doing. I don't know what's going on. For what? For what? I asked him a question.
Poker?
I don't have no knowledge.
You play some poker.
And I just wanted to know who's asking for me to be sworn in. The DA, the defense, the judge, who's asking it? Those are questions I need answers if you're gonna revoke me. You ain't got to be a test of what you do.
Now, as you just saw, Mr. Mata, who was understandably confused, was being called to swear in as a witness. He even stated that he had no knowledge of the case, and it was later found out that the defense attorney tried to claim that Mr. Mata was making terroristic threats towards the Dean family, even though no evidence was ever found. Now, I'm going to give you more information on this portion of the situation, based on my own observations. To me, it appeared to be premeditated that the defense attorney, possibly in collusion with these deputies and the judge, had conspired to call Mr. Mata as a witness, with the hopes that Mr. Mata would refuse to swear in, and for the judge to arrest him with the possible intention to prevent him from being in the courtroom for any further deliberation. If we look at this portion of the video, you can see these two bailiffs eyeballing Mr. Mata in the courtroom. In this portion, you can see the two bailiffs move even closer to Mr. Mata, even before the judge orders them to hold him, while at the same time, Miles Brissett moves away from his seat and behind the bailiffs. Again, even before a decision was made, you can see this guy and another bailiff off screen essentially box Mr. Mata in. Keep in mind that this is the same attorney that pled during the opening statement of the trial that Aaron Dean had shot 8-year-old Tatiana Jefferson in self-defense. Okay, enough of my opinions. Mr. Mata was later released and had his bond reinstated, and no charges were ever filed against him related to contempt of court or relating to the alleged terroristic threat. I don't know. What are your opinions on this? What are your opinions on the
I'll
Aaron
set
Dean
one
case?
up.
Let me know in the comment section down below. Hello everyone, James with Open Government Investigations. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce the addition of the official Open Government Investigations Patreon page. Unfortunately, due to the various restrictions and the ever-changing policies of YouTube and Facebook, we feel it is in our best interest to promote an additional platform for our content that is less restrictive. This will also allow us to delve into deeper topics.
I don't know
and
why he
video
wants to do
reviews that would
Patreon.
violate the
I mean,
policies
that's
set
worse
forth by
than
both
any
YouTube
of them
and Facebook.
almost.
Signing up for Patreon is free, and the majority of our content on there is available to
Yeah,
non-paid
right.
members. The way we'll be structuring content delivery will vary, but in most cases, those who have a paid membership will be able to enjoy early access to content before they're released on YouTube and Facebook. Patrons will also have the ability to watch our content without having to be interrupted by intrusive advertisements. In addition to video releases, Patreon also provides us with the ability to easily release documents that pertain to a specific video. For example, in this video that is currently in the process of being edited, there are several documents ranging from incident reports, court dockets, sworn statements, etc. Patreon provides us with the ability to upload and attach those documents with the video so that viewers can review them. We hope that you'll take the time to head on over to our Patreon page. I look forward to seeing you there.
It's over.
Thanks for watching. If you're watching this on Facebook, please make...
Fuck Facebook. You guys want to watch? I don't know. I had a couple things. Let's check here. Let's see. You need to upload this muted? No.
Don't put all those to characterize them with the ones here.
But you almost put yourself into that category when you approached us. Like you could have been like, "Excuse me, gentlemen," or something like that, instead of hollering and barking at us. I mean, I wouldn't bark at you like that unless you give me a reason.
100% right. You're 100%.
Cool, man.
Okay, so we'll call it a wash.
And what's your name, brother?
Sean.
Sean
Sackett.
Sackett.
Are you gonna put this on YouTube?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
hey, you turned it around, so you're looking good. Exactly.
People don't respect you for that, dude. You're gonna get the plate.
Why would you?
It ain't your fault.
You didn't do anything wrong.
Just to clarify our point, relay that information to your higher ups. I know certain things are about someone's fake rate. I get that. But right here, if this is normally a
which is why we have the gate. The only reason why the gate is open during the day is because for
Detroit.
Yeah, the federal building in Detroit.
Don't put all those to characterize them.
Yeah. I don't want to lose my job. Because they yelled at you.
Questions.
Okay, cool.
How long is
We got a few players now.
Desecrated in the select board room?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Did you know that it was being desecrated in the select board room?
I did not.
You did not.
Sheriff would like to know if you were available to come down. He says his name is Christoph Citizen, which of course is not his name. He would like somebody to come and
Come on, sir, you
address
can-
the flag that's up in the select board. Because it's being desecrated. And so I don't know if you're available to come down.
Seems to be like draped all over the ground. We're trying to
I didn't
see.
put it like that. I have no idea how.
No, I know,
It got put up last night. I
I'm
have
sure
no
you
idea.
did. Yeah, you know what usually happens is they must have like a meeting or something,
did.
and they want it to look good, real good for the TV,
Yeah.
and then they wind up disrespecting the flag, hooking up like composing things to the back of it, and letting it drape all over the ground, and you know obviously you have someone you care about in the military, and they're
No, I get it. People have said it to them, but I'm not.
Now,
I'm
who-
just the HR officer.
No,
I
I
have
know.
idea.
I know you're not.
The
So I
select board, go after them. If you administrator.
Yeah, I wanna-
So
who can
they're
we
not
talk
here.
to that- oh, they're
There's
not
no one
here.
here. I mean.
What's going on, guys? We're in Mendon Town Hall in Mendon, Massachusetts. You might remember the Mendon PD where some cop impersonator tried to go hands-on and act all cool.
My vehicle.
Because I feel like it.
You can't do that.
I can't.
Personal property.
You know, it's the people's property because it's on public property.
My personal property.
Okay, are you a police officer?
No, I'm not.
Okay, so then I'll see you later, man. I'm gonna keep taking pictures. You can get them if you want. You know what they're gonna tell you? Stop wasting their time. But town hall was closed, so we're coming by now to check it out. Let's see how they do. Let's check it out with Banana Rana.
All right, tournament's up. Anybody need chips?
No, I'll switch for you.
Oh, no mercy. You want it? You're in this club, aren't you? Oh, sure.
Oh.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, join
I guess the town took the day off today.
Friends and Codes Club. Here, I'll send the
entire downstairs is
the club number. It's the same password as Bow's.
gone.
It's a different club number.
Gone.
Let me know when you send the.
Plaques on the door saying staff only.
Here's what you guys pay for, though. An entire city shut down.
Sweet. Thanks, Anna. It's set for 15 after the hour. Gotta figure out why these people didn't show up today.
Hello.
Hiya.
What are you doing?
Good.
All the Hello? Hi, sorry. I know you guys are doing construction. I was just trying to figure out which offices are which because there's no
Sure. Oh, there's
signs
a
up
sign
there.
in the very front wall.
Oh, in the foyer.
Yeah, are
Okay.
you looking for anything particular?
No, we were just taking pictures of everything because you guys were getting some renos done, and we just wanted to kind of take some pictures, but I wasn't sure which was which, so I could figure out what it looked like before.
Oh.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I'll just peek around and take some pictures.
Oh, sure.
Thank
Where are
you.
from?
I'm sorry.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from my house.
Oh, Mendon?
No, I don't live in Mendon. Oh, where am I from? I thought you said like where I'm from.
Oh, say I'm from
No, I'm from California.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm from
Appreciate it.
Massachusetts, though. Oh, cool. Yeah. It's opposite there.
Look at all the work they're doing. It always gets it from my mom.
Oh, okay.
From my
Sorry.
mom.
Review and exit.
Oh, it's gonna look nice though.
All right,
It's gonna
Mercy.
look beautiful, yeah.
It's a great
You're in.
color.
Yeah, I like it. Thing. Hell yeah. Ripping it up. Let's take a look up. Oh, that's probably up to code. Duct tape. Look at the flag. Why is it draping on the ground? What's going on? They always do this. They let the flag just hang on the ground.
Oh, no.
Look at that. Super dusty. Look at guys. This is what they do to make it look good for TV. The flag's just, look at, they got it clipped to like music things.
But it's, you know, what's good for TV makes it okay to do that.
Good man texting.
Here we go.
It's not making it okay.
Here we go.
Hey,
fix the flag.
You got me wanting to check in on mine now.
I wanted this one. Who we got to talk to about this? Hello? No. Who do we talk to about the decrepit state of the flag? No one? Yo, mic drop. Why you fucking up your flag, son?
There we go.
You have to do it again? Oh, hi. Do you work here? Oh, perfect. Oh, you're in Veterans Affairs.
No, I'm HR.
Oh, were you a veteran?
No.
Oh, we were just trying to figure out this flag right here. Seems to be.
So they're leaving you to pick up the pieces, but you have no assistance in getting help to pick up the flag.
Are you related to someone? I'm here because I choose.
You
Are you
pay
related to
it,
someone
Chopper?
in the military?
You playing?
Is that what?
No, it's my boyfriend, my daughter's boyfriend.
Okay, perfect. So, and we appreciate his service, and he sacrificed a lot. So this flag wasn't here being disrespected. So that's why I'm here right now. So why I'm here right now is going to be to fix this issue. So we're going to have to figure out how we can take care of this because
How about if you take it down and fold it?
we could do that. Do you know how to do? I mean,
I don't know how to fold it.
ceremonially, we're
Right, I
supposed
don't
to
know how to do
have military
Yeah, I don't know
personnel
how
to do it.
I don't
Which
know
is,
who
and this
put it
is,
up
I'm
there.
not mad at
My
you.
guess is half the select board's military, ex-military, or there are some ex-military.
Oh, shame on them.
I don't know.
If they
I
were
don't know if
military
they
and they
are.
did that.
I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
saying,
you did. You're great. We have no.
Are you going by like that you saw it on TV and that's why
No,
you're here?
no. We just came in to take a look at the beautiful building and some renovations. And of course, I'm a huge supporter of our country and this military. And then I see a flag draped on the ground. We got brackets on it. It's clipped up top. And I know it looks great for TV, but such a disrespect to our armed military
No, I get it.
personnel.
You're not the first person to say it. So I don't know who put it
Ooh,
up there. It wasn't
not the first
I-
person to say it, but it's still like that.
I came in and then I saw it like that, but I don't know how to fix it because I'm.
Well, so ceremonially,
The jacket he gave me for Christmas.
ceremonially, we're supposed to have someone that was in the military or the Veterans
No.
Affairs to respect the
No.
flag. Just not, yeah.
No, he
Because you know what's going to
He
happen
helps veterans. He doesn't.
is this video.
Oh, yeah.
I have a really
Oh,
good
yeah.
chance.
No, the
This video's
irritation
gonna
part's
go out,
best, but that's
and
not how you
everybody's
do
going to
it.
see how the
Anybody can
select
fold a
board
flag.
disrespected an American flag and the people that served for it, and then the phone calls are not going to stop. And then a couple of the select people are probably going to lose their position.
The main reason is because of the superstition of authority.
And the flag will never be treated like that again. I mean, Reading in Massachusetts
It
did.
was just a mistake. Like I wasn't here.
No, it's not you. We love you. We love.
Not, he's trolling them.
Either.
Oh, they
Maybe
are.
they were trying to pick it up off the ground. I don't know where it came. But see, that's the thing. Like
They didn't. They just wanted it to look good for TV. Oh, Jesus. See, I was right. It's got a composing station behind it, and it's tied to the Massachusetts flag. It's literally Jimmy rigged. That's disgusting. That's disgusting. Yeah, no, I knew there was a composing station. Well, you were very nice.
No, we're not. No, I
I'm sorry.
I do.
Of course.
I mean, obviously, it's our like, country.
Of course,
You know?
yeah.
I mean, honestly, I walked in out and I actually thought it was nice. I didn't know there was a rules about it touching the ground. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a huge flag. Maybe they should have a flag this big in here. I And don't it know. would look beautiful if it weren't touching the ground. That's the thing. If it were hanging, if it were, you know.
Yeah, they wanted it to look good for TV, and
So I'm a veteran, and the two flags that hang out in front of my house are my family crest flag and the big black Lions Not Sheep flag.
with their backs right here, you can't really see it. And what's worse is if these guys served in the military, I'm going to make sure that in fact,
I don't know if they did. I don't know.
yeah. Well, of course. I'm gonna do a records request on every single person on the select board. I'm gonna get their name, their.
Yeah, Chopper's tried a couple times. Well, I live out in the boonies, so anyone who enters my property that isn't making an Amazon delivery is usually scared off by a large hunk of metal protruding from my front door.
Salaries, their oath of office, their time of employment. I'm going to do a full background check on them. And then what we're going to do is we're going to figure out exactly if they should know better. I think most Americans know better. As a kid, I was taught not to let a flag touch the ground. And look at this thing. Disgusting. Well, it would be right there. So you see right there. So the camera is going to shine on the select board here, and then you got one right there as well, so you can see both faces, and then that one will take there as well. So this is just kind of for the backdrop. It gives them a nice American backdrop because
laptops and iPads.
Low resolution camera. It's just a nice flag, and it's not your fault. You're very, very wonderful. It just breaks my heart when I see a representation of our country just so poorly upkept, because it reminds me of, right now the veterans do not get the assistance that they require, and they come home and they do not get the service from their country that they gave back to their country. And then this flag is an exact representation of the limited services that they get. And I appreciate you and the folks in your family.
No, and then thank
You have a great day.
with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
We think you're wonderful. We'll take it up with them. Did you hear about a video at the police department next door hitting YouTube? No, that one was me a couple months back. So we just wanted to come in, see the new
But the renovations are
beautiful, yeah.
I mean, it's making it beautiful, yeah. Parking lots and it's high.
Here you go, guys. There's your flag. There's your flag. And we could spit on it next time. Nice job, Menden. Menden Select Board. Nice job. You want to? Maybe we can put it in the bathroom, and we can wipe our ass with it next. Maybe we could just do that with the flag. Maybe do that next. Scumbags. And look at they're nowhere to be found. Well, I'm gonna leave an email, and I'm gonna give them a chance to figure their shit out. I'm gonna give them a chance to figure their shit out, because I'm. Hello. How are you? Good, thanks. So, who is technically the clerk in right now? Who is technically the clerk right now? No, the city clerk I would do records requests with.
Oh, Eleanor, she's downstairs in the town clerk's office.
I didn't see her down there. Are they out today?
No, they're downstairs. If you go,
All right, I'll head back down there.
okay. You can go two ways. Out this down the ramp and in the bottom door,
Okay.
or down the hallway, down the stairs, and all the way down.
I want to bring something to your attention, which has me very upset. You guys are very, very nice. Apparently, they wanted to make the select board meeting a little bit more legit looking, so they decided to put the American flag up. I don't know if you've been upstairs, but your select board has a flag draped on the ground in dirt, clipped with little paper clip brackets to other things and composing stands, and it's an absolute disgrace to this country and to the men and women that served in our armed forces. For them to think that it might make them look a little bit more legit and to disrespect the flag in such a manner. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do a records request. I'm going to get the names, salary, dates of employment. I'm going to do full background checks on Intellius for all the select board members, figure out if any of them are in the military so we can formally make complaints to the VA. But
it's dragging on the
secondly, what I'd like to say is that I have 115,000 subscribers. I have 40 million views on YouTube. I do this for a living. So my focus is to make this town hall absolutely miserable until every single one of those select people are gone. The phone calls will not stop. The people will not stop. They're going to be very upset by that, and this has nothing to do with you. You guys are phenomenal, and so is the nice lady in Human Resources. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my email. I'm going to give someone from the select board of the town admin's office 1 hour to get back to me, because they work for the people and they're off right now being lazy while that flag's being disrespected. So I'm going to be nice and give them 1 hour, 59 more minutes than I think they deserve, to give me an email and explain to me why that flag looks like that and when it's being taken down, because I can't take it down because we need it ceremonially, it needs to be taken down. And then I'm going to come back and check that it's down. If that's the case, I'm going to give you guys a break on this video. If not, Mendon is going to be my project. I'm not going to leave here. I'm going to be at every stop that's here, at every single traffic stop. I'm going to be at every single select meeting.
There you go, commentate.
And it's not, you guys, by the way, are phenomenal. So please don't take my aggravation as upsetment for you.
It's just awful. I mean, it's almost dragging like a whole foot on the ground. It's completely,
Have you seen it?
there's little
It's an absolute
cookies, like,
disgrace.
it's absolutely horrible. And to men and women that served our country.
And the lady that comes out from Human Resources, she's wearing a military pullover from her daughter's boyfriend. And I'm thinking to myself, the disrespect that he would feel if he walked into that city hall. So some people
He wouldn't
have
give
an
a
American
shit.
flag behind them.
Right.
They're gonna have a rough day. They're gonna have a rough day.
He gave her his jacket so that she could be warm and things like that. Like that's just.
So here's my.
Got it
my
for free.
And what time do you have there? What time do we got? We got 1:23. So they have until 2:23. I'm gonna give them until 2:23. Because they answered the people to get back to me or be miserable about it. 2:23 to explain themselves
14:23.
and to arrange.
Because you wonderful ladies are here today.
Actual
None of them
removal.
are here today.
We have 6 players. This is awesome.
Perfect. And I appreciate it. I'm very, very
2
sorry
Canadians.
you are offended. My intent
No mercy, you're not
is not to come across at you. You guys are very, very nice and phenomenal, but I won't let our flag be desecrated like that.
I'll certainly provide the feedback.
All right, are you gonna reach out to them and
Yeah,
let
I
them
can do
know?
that.
You think he's serious? You think Josh is serious about this? Because I don't. I think he's just trolling them.
All right, perfect. I have, and I can be filming. I got 5 phones, so.
And you know what's horrible is they leave. They're not here for the day, but they leave you guys to pick up the pieces for anybody to walk into that room and be as upset or more than we are right now. And that's not fair to you guys either.
So this is, guys, this is Mendon, where they don't give a, and I'm not saying that if you, besides these 2 ladies and the Human Resources lady upstairs, this is Mendon, where they don't give a shit about their veterans and they disrespect the American flag. And this is also the place where in the bathroom, they could probably just post the flag for you to wipe your ass on it, because that's the respect that the select board here shows at Mendon. So we're going to give them 1 hour to get back to us, or else I'm going to be a new resident of Mendon, and I'm going to be father up their ass in that toilet paper as far as being in meetings and being vocal and asking all my supporters and followers to be up on this, and especially my military followers that are going to be destroyed by that.
Treasurer's
Ladies, thank you very
office.
much. I hope you have a phenomenal day. I look forward to hearing from them, and if what I think is going to happen is that their ego is bigger than their slight stature, then it's only going to be a bigger headache for them, because like I said, you could tell them I'll be at every select board meeting.
And these women in the treasurer's office.
Yeah,
are
very
phenomenal.
nice.
Phenomenal.
Thank you very
guys so
much. You have a rough day, Mendon is.
And that's why we come to these offices and we do what we do.
I'm gonna go back downstairs and see if that city clerk lady's here. I'm gonna ask her why she's allowing it to, because she's by de facto in charge right now. We'll give them an hour to email me. I got 2 phones, so I'll keep an eye out for it. Hello. How you doing? So you're the city clerk. Town clerk. You're de facto kind of in charge, or there's no one else here right now?
Well, I don't know if I'd say I'm in charge, but okay.
Well, very nice to meet you. Just a couple quick questions. How long has the flag been desecrated in the select board room?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. Did you know that it was being desecrated in the select board room?
I did not.
You did not. Okay. So the flag, apparently one of the select people thought it might make them look a little bit more legitimate and a little bit cooler. They had the American flag behind them with the entire bottom of it dragging on the ground, covered in dust. The other part has paper clips such as that and bracket holders, paper clipped to walls, boxes, and other flags to keep it upright. And then a composition stand upright on top of boxes with the flag clipped to that. It is an absolute abhorrent disrespect to our military personnel that served this country, that paid sacrifices so you and I could be in here exhibiting our freedom, some that pay the ultimate sacrifice. They never come home to their
Jesus.
families.
I really hope he doesn't believe this. I really hope he doesn't. Because it'd be disappointing if he did.
Have that flag.
Look at her. Look at her face. She does not give a shit.
Disrespected in such a manner, which is you didn't do it. I understand that, so I'm not. So please don't take my anger as an attack on you.
357, get in the game.
Upstairs. I told them I'd let you know. They have 1 hour to get back to me and to tell me what their plans are to
Got 5 minutes.
ceremonially fold the flag, take it
Yeah,
down,
he's on.
move it, and to explain to me
They're in the poker
why
game,
them
man.
looking cool and their ego is of bigger stature than their slight personage. And if they don't, then I'm going to take my 115,000 follower audience and I'm going to make Mendon a special project. I'm going to be at every single.
Where's Friends in Code? I don't know. He was streaming pretty late last night, so he's probably sleeping.
I'm going to do Intellius background checks and every single select board person.
He was still streaming when I went to bed last night. So.
That issue taken care of because it is a total disrespect and disgrace. So, do you think?
I don't think he believes what he's saying, and I don't think she believes that he believes.
That was my question.
I don't think she even believes what he's saying.
Who would you like me to contact?
Anyone that's available, because I was told that some of them were in the military, and I'm not going to say who gave us that information.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's the case, that's a whole nother concern. So I'm happy to wait 1 hour for them to fix this before this becomes my audience's main focus.
Let's live on the edge with some rumble here.
Understood.
So that's
Yeah,
why.
you're very
that's
nice.
why
Please
the-
don't.
Should be doing. It's a brilliant opportunity, as most news stories are these days, to analyze what the systems of power might actually be like. They use rhetoric to convey an interest in environmentalism, but when the opportunity comes to act on behalf of the environment, they do not take it. Joe Biden will say that his administration will
Yes,
protect
that's
American
exactly what it
workers.
looked like,
When it comes
Anna.
to paying rail workers who, I feel like they're in industrial action in your country, America. I know that railway workers in our country are getting
But I've given that
real
face.
bad. They never take those opportunities. The reporting in the lever
They
there
do it a
certainly
lot.
worth taking a look at. There.
I think that phone call was something similar to that I just had.
Fantastic. Yeah. Where is the real national security threat? That's one of the questions we're posing. Are you?
A guy forgets that he came into work Monday after the Super Bowl, still trashed. They sent him home without firing him. And then he calls the next week saying that his check is short. It's like, yeah, dude, because you went home because you came to work buzzing still. Oh, no, that was from the week before last. I'm like, yeah, that's what you get paid for last Friday, dumbass.
You more at risk from enthusiastic balloons floating across the sky, or from serious pollution in your rivers. And as Gareth just told you, 8% of
I like
people
Russell,
already
too.
have that pollution. It's a really, really worrying story. Biden, though, is in Kiev as he thought Putin could outlast us. In what context does he mean there? In a coital situation?
I guess what he's saying is that Putin thought
Coital.
this was wrapped up a long time ago, but because we keep giving,
Money.
weapons and arms
Game's
and
going.
aid to Ukraine, we've managed to keep this going.
Gareth, you had
Come on,
$100
357.
billion in
You can
total.
still make
You
it.
said
1 minute.
What was the figure for the average US household now? I think you said $806.
It's $861 now that this has cost the average American household.
That's the average American household. And what worries me about that, I suppose, is it's not like it's going to support Ukrainian troops directly. It's military expenditure. Much
Is he
of which
coming?
will be for-profit military.
Or do you want me to restart it? Is he? I mean, did he say he was coming?
In Northrop Grumman, those guys. Not that they don't do great things like actually build really cool telescopes, I heard the other day.
Sure.
But in
And
this
that,
instance,
you know, and that plane that, and that missile.
Well, we started.
plane. It's pretty expensive. When we had Seymour Hersh on here, he said that was the first mission that plane had ever done. It's cost billions for him to make it. I think that's that one we've seen skipping about like
That's
that.
it,
Isn't it? The one.
Is he?
It's sort of up on its wrong
Is he?
end.
I haven't seen anything.
Farting
No
itself
way.
into the sky, then scutterbugging off like Clippity Clop's
Quick
mum.
restart.
Okay. Mitch, what's old Mitch up to? Mitch McConnell's there, the great.
It's already started. Sorry, it won't let me cancel it.
Greyly melting down
Sorry.
the palm of your hand. I was thinking of it as an ice cream.
Right.
And
Because that's how we all like to.
Most of us consume semen as a sort of delicacy.
Sorry. Yeah.
What's he got to say? Oh yeah, this is a bit of mainstream news. Where's Fox? You know, so right-leaning mainstream stuff about expenditure in Ukraine. Check it.
We might have to figure out a way to get more funding so that we have enough ammo for ourselves and to give to allies like Ukraine. What is Biden's responsibility?
That bloody television set they've had to get in order to convey how much money's been spent. That's a serious widescreen telly that they've had to use. Some of that budget has been spent on TV sets to get all the zeros on, to be honest, though. There's Putin. Do you want to say something about that?
Oh, I've got a little fact about Anthony Blinken, if you want it.
How unlike you, Gareth, to startle me with a fact. Tell me about Anthony Blinken.
Anthony Blinken?
I think Anthony Blinken's surname describes what he's doing when there's important business going on. He's just blinking all the time while they're letting balloons out. Anthony, are you looking at this?
No, not really. I'm busy using my little eyes simultaneously.
So he said Wednesday that a Ukrainian attempt at retaking Crimea would be a red line for Vladimir Putin and risks major response. So they're kind of admitting this now. But in January, Zelensky vowed that Ukraine will take back Crimea. So it's just an interesting thing that's going on whilst Joe Biden's over there giving more weapons. It's kind of like they know what Zelensky wants whilst acknowledging how dangerous this would be and yet continuing to supply weapons anyway. It's a strange situation.
Yeah, it's extraordinary. And Putin is not a man to take aggravation lying down. Have you seen this thing where someone comes and stands in front of him in a photo op? Have a look, enjoy it. Very strong bass in that track. Who is this little egghead that's getting in front of him, firstly? What's that haircut about? I'm not criticising the person just on the basis of the way that they look.
But he looks like he's from 30 or 40 years ago.
He looks like he's from the wrong era, and his facial expression, I don't know why he wants to be in that photo. And who thinks, like even if you don't know Putin that well, which I don't know what makes him tick or anything, but I figure that is not someone you stand in front of in a lineup. If I'll get in front of him, he won't mind. He seems, from everything I've heard about his background in the KGB and his willingness to kill his enemies, he's someone that's not going to have an ego.
Yeah.
I call him a shifty little guy.
Yeah.
Luckily,
I think he's just like reading the vibe of the people either side of him.
Going well. Oh yeah, that was these guys. He's to the left, she's to the right. Well, no problem here. But look at like the person they've got. They've got the perfect person lined up to solve this little dilemma. Yes, please. Yeah, that's more like it.
Well done.
That's well done. Good team. Good work, team. Yeah, nice. Okay, so while the proxy war's got a bit more complicated now because it's a bit proxy because America is having to fund militarily Ukrainian efforts. But now look, China might start funding Russia.
Yep.
So now it's like actual Russian dolls of funding, though. They're getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger funding.
Where's
I mean,
it
who's
gonna
going
go
to fund China?
I know.
UFOs, that they are balloon enthusiasts.
Oh, well, we've decided to, to fund China for a little while.
Okay, listen, I think we're going to have to... Are we going to click over for a minute, or can we do our Taiwan thing? Let's do our Taiwan thing, and then after that, we're going to have to leave you guys if you're watching anywhere other than Rumble, because I'm going to talk about natural immunity, and it's a subject that has to be... Well, it doesn't have to be sensitive, actually. I don't think it should be. I think you should be able to openly discuss things, because you are a free adult individual with your own divine connection to the limitless. But apparently me and certain other platforms and power structures see things differently. Before you go, though, we'll give you a little, and if you stay with us, you should go over a Rumble and watch the full thing if you want to. But before we go, we'll just tell you this thing. Is Taiwan the next Ukraine? We have created a set of diagnostics to help us understand. When we ask simply, is it? Now let's have a look at the first criterion. Right, is it next to a superpower? Yeah, yes or no? Yes. because China.
It'll look a lot different when you're back,
Next
Anna.
question, there's some information on it from the great journalist John Pilger. Does that a superpower want their land? Yes or no? You can play along at home. Play along in the chat. Come and see if you
Oh,
think.
King 2, Ace 2.
What's the next question? There it is. That's how you should define it. Is
So sorry,
Taiwan
guys.
resource rich like Ukraine is? Yes or no? Go on, try and guess along. It turns they are with semiconductors, and don't pretend you know what semiconductors are, because even though you keep hearing it on the news, you still don't know what they are. And if you think you know, let me know in the chat. Go on, tell me in the chat then. It's semiconductors, they make loads of them. Is that it? Have the US been giving them weapons? Or is it yes or no? Have they? Yes, they have been doing that. Uh-oh, it's starting
Yeah,
to
it
look
was.
like how things were in about 2014.
I'd have been in it too if I was you.
And Russia. Is this
Yeah,
going to work
GG.
out well for everyone in the end? Let's have a look. Yes or no? No, potentially not, because what you're doing is you're aggravating a powerful nation that are willing to put placards around you, billboard you out of existence, and then march you off into whatever is Chinese for a gulag. I'm afraid I can't answer that at this point. Okay. So it seems like, according to our deep analysis, that Taiwan could be the new Ukraine. But, you know, it doesn't matter what you think. Tell us what you think in the chat and the comments. We're going to flip over now to be exclusively on our home platform, that's Rumble, where we are permitted to speak freely about
We're already there.
freedom, which I believe is freedom for you, freedom for me, freedom for us all to be who we want to be as an individual and as a community, where we focus on our own spiritual development, not on judging others, where we recognize that devolution is absolutely what's necessary. Let's get into this natural immunity story without delay. Turns out, right, natural immunity is better than, are we off YouTube? Is better than taking a vaccine. There, I've said it. It's better than it.
It's not just better than taking one, it's better than taking two.
It's better than taking any. So if you've got a choice of, like, I don't remember there being big ad campaigns. I don't remember there being, like, the response to the pandemic, it seems, has potentially caused more harm than coronavirus itself. Certainly, like, I mean, it's difficult to make that analysis because there isn't a parallel universe from which to judge it. But now we're looking at this 30% spike in heart attack deaths in young people. Yep. We're looking at the economic impact of the lockdown, addiction, mental health, cancer. Oh my God, I mean, it's just total chaos. Let's have a look at this natural immunity thing. Immunity acquired from a COVID infection. This is actually just off of NBC, though, huh?
Yeah,
But
I mean,
YouTube
that's
still-
the irony now that NBC are reporting on
Sorry,
this.
guys.
And that even
Trying
NBC
to get
can
to
have
the phone at the same time. What do we got here?
video on YouTube
Eh.
that is still there, but if we said it on YouTube,
Why is that?
we would
Like,
not
they
be
shouldn't
there.
be allowed. They ain't no better than us. Is it because we ain't got no peacock?
The strange thing about it all is that they can change their story and not be, you know, called out on that by YouTube. But if you've had a consistent story of questioning these kind of things,
right,
questioning natural immunity from the start, which a lot of people, you know, as we've spoken about before, the hashtag was banned on Instagram. It was very much in the realm of conspiracy. Now to have something where they're saying not only is it equal to, but better than, and NBC are freely allowed to report.
Somebody could
that,
have a straight
that seems
flush.
like something
Royal flush.
nefarious is
It's
going
fait
on.
accompli at this point. At this point, you can't do anything about it. I don't know if the regulations have been changed, meaning that you can travel internationally
I think
without
that's
it.
due to happen.
Change it immediately. Fucking, they instantiated it quick enough, didn't they? They could just bring about the legislation when they needed to. Natural immunity doesn't protect you as well as COVID vaccines. Here's why. That's a story from when the machine wanted that result, November 2021. And now here we are. In reality, immunity acquired from a COVID infection is as protective as vaccination against severe illness and death. Have we got a clip of those people?
Yep.
Let's have a look at this bit of mainstream news talking about it. It's brilliant.
In today's Daily Health, there's a new study that looks at our body's immunity after getting COVID.
Yeah, it finds the immunity that naturally builds up in our bodies after a COVID-19 infection is as protective as the 2 doses of the mRNA vaccines against severe illness and death.
Oh, okay. So you guys are conspiracy theorists right now. I mean, this is the way that the narrative is traveling. So what I recommend to you as a discerning and awakening wonder, that's what I'm going to call you, is that you stay present with us. We don't claim to know anything, but we do claim to legitimately inquire. We do claim to consider as many sides of the argument as possible. And we do claim to bear our own interests and biases in mind as we embark on this journey in good faith with open hearts together. And frankly, It's lucky that our hearts are functioning at all. Some of the things that have been recommended these days.
The strange thing about that clip for me, well, not the strange thing, but the odd thing is that they introduce this item and talk about natural immunity as if it's something that nobody has ever heard of that before. And this hasn't been a massive divisive point all the way through the pandemic. You know,
There's this new thing called natural immunity. It once was the enclave of only crackpots. Another thing is that mRNA protein spikes may leave the site of the injection and migrate to other tissue, like your heart, causing myocarditis and pericarditis. They'll be saying that soon, won't they?
well, we know that they are already kind of saying things like that. Oh no, we have this from Politico. Data has shown an elevated risk of myocarditis and pericarditis, inflammation of after the second mRNA vaccine dose among males aged 12 to 39, with those in their late teens and 20s most affected. That sounds a little similar to...
It's very interesting that the group affected by myocarditis and pericarditis co-align beautifully with that 30% spike in people dying of heart disease. Listen, should we...
I'm sure those numbers are going to go up for everybody, man.
Presentation that we've worked very hard on together as a team. This is fantastic. One of the ways that our environment is shifting, altering, is through the use of language. You may have seen elsewhere this fantastic story that the word freedom is being reframed in order to make it a kind of forbidden piece of language, so that the idea of freedom, which I would say is absolutely universal, that we have our rights to individual freedom, it's enshrined, I think, in your constitution, and collective freedom. If you make the term freedom an equivocal term that's somehow laden with far-right meaning, that's what's being suggested, then obviously freedom movements become, well, what's next? Freedoms for terrorists or something like that.
You sure it was COVID all 4 times?
Right now, in our presentation, here's
or
the
just
news.
flu?
Oh, no, here's the effing news, mate.
Thank you for choosing Fox News.
No, here's the fucking news.
According to a new report, the word freedom is racist, and people that want to be free are racist, even if those people are multiracial and want all people to be free. The bloody racists. Have you seen that the word freedom is now being repackaged as racist at a time that the Democrat Party is becoming increasingly elitist and using subjects like...
I hope it's not too late either, because my son got 2. My youngest son got 2. My other one didn't take anything either. But he got 2, just fucking girl pressured him into it. What pussy. But anyway, yeah. So I'm hoping he doesn't take any more.
diversity to
But he lives in fucking Ann Arbor, so I should tell you everything.
mask lobbying and corporate interests. Just to let you know where I stand right from the very top, for me, freedom means your right as an individual to be the person that God or the universe intended you to be. Beyond culture, beyond religious orthodoxy, beyond race, your right to be you, your right to your freedom, not your right to tell other people what to do from whatever perspective. And I believe in your freedom of expression, whether that's on the right or the left. As long as your freedom of expression doesn't involve oppressing others, I believe in your freedom. Just to make that absolutely clear from the top. Now let's see
Ooh, you had the
how
10
language
at
is
ace.
being manipulated to grant more
I had an
power
ace.
to
I
already
didn't have
powerful
another match.
establishments and to
Nice
prevent
hand.
dissent. Those are two vital jobs: undermine and smear dissenters and ossify centralized power. Check this out from a CBC article last year. As demonstrations against COVID-19 restrictions continue across Canada, the word freedom is on the lips and placards of many protesters. Yeah, why could that be? Almost like they want freedom and feel like their freedom's being shut down by a raft of new laws that have come from a centralized authority.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, my wife thinks she's had it 3 times, but I think she only had it once when I had it. When it was pretty, it was bad flu.
The term has taken hold among protesters who are part of the Freedom Convoy. For many, freedom is a malleable term that's open to interpretation. All words are open to
no
interpretation.
jabs.
You start breaking down words. You know, misinformation, malinformation, disinformation. Where did those words come from? What do they mean? Who's misinformation? Is there such a thing as objective meaning for words? We're in a sort of territory of post-modernity and post-structuralism now, but I would argue that this is a bad faith argument. That, for example, those Canadian truckers, when talking about freedom, and most people now, when they're talking about freedom, mean this: I want to be left alone. I want to be left alone by the government, and more importantly, by centralized globalist organizations that have never been elected anyway. That's what freedom means. To see the word freedom bandied about as part of these protests points to a broader circulation of what Elizabeth Anker calls violent forms of freedom. We're just tied together violent freedom. By the way, if anyone said, I want to be free, I want freedom, and I asked, oh, what kind of freedom do you want? Freedom to be horrible and racist.
Yeah, but did they use those instant tests? Because those things tap water can show positive on those stupid things.
And to persecute people. Oh no, that's not freedom. I'm not backing that. Let me be clear. Let me use language deliberately and specifically. But if people say, by freedom, I want to live as I am. I want to be free from government intervention. I don't want to live in a corporatized world where there is no democracy, where I can't leave my house, where I can't work at my job, then I would advocate for that freedom. Similarly, freedom to express yourself however you want to be spoken to, using language that suits you and your identity. Cool. Freedom is an absolute concept as far as I'm concerned. And this is a nefarious argument that's being used to shut down legitimate protest by working people. This is a trend that's been happening for the last 30 or 40 years. There is no representation of ordinary people in countries like Canada, the United States of America, presumably France, presumably elsewhere. I know for sure in my country, the United Kingdom, because the parties that used to be about representing ordinary people, what used to be regarded as the left, have become increasingly professional, increasingly dominated by the same financial, corporate, and military interests.
Did you think it was to improve the facial recognition software?
Brand of politics. Let me know if you disagree on the left. I'm referring to Cheney.
So it only needed that part of your face?
Think tanks, let's go to war and make a profit.
Because I just thought that.
Are now both political parties in America, for example, and in my country, the UK, both parties represent ultimately elitist interests and will not stand up for the rights of ordinary people against centralized globalist corporatist interests. But you might disagree, and using your freedom, you can do that in the chat, in the comments below. Freedom is a slippery concept, said Anka. Yeah, in the wrong hands it is. But in the right hands, freedom means you leave me alone, I'll leave you alone, we'll come together and cooperate where necessary, which could be quite a lot in coming years. Because a lot of people think, and I'd have to include myself here, that these arguments around supporting diversity are often actually a mask to underwrite and advance corporate interests. And we've got a fascinating example of that exact thing coming right up. Because diversity is important. Respecting people's identity, culture, religion, race, those are important things. That is part of freedom. And anyone that denies that, any aspect of it, I'm not in the argument with you. I stand with anyone that's standing up for their freedom. But also, working class people of any colour that are trucking across Canada, they want freedom too. Yeah, they should have it. Farmers in Sri Lanka, they want freedom. Yeah. Farmers in India, yeah. Farmers in Germany, the Netherlands. Have you noticed that working people across the world are starting to be negatively affected by centralist globalist corporatist
I didn't have shit, but it checked all the way through the hand.
To represent them. Why is it that there are now no parties
that
represent the interests of ordinary people? Here's an article about an interesting demographic shift that could help explain that. The rise of college-educated Democrats. In the last 15 years, the Democratic Party coalition has undergone a dramatic demographic change. The white share of the party are far more likely to be college-educated than in the past. In 2020, for the first time on record, the college-educated white share, 27% of the Democrats, exceeded that of non-college-educated whites, 25%. Those with a college education tend to be wealthier and have higher socioeconomic status than those without, but they also tend to be more socially liberal and more likely to prioritize post-material moral concerns over kitchen table issues. Essentially what that's saying is that the Democrat Party has now become a party that's more interested in postulating rather than dealing with economic inequality that affects, guess who's more affected than any other group by economic inequality? Oh, the very people that you claim to care so much about. So ultimately, there's been a cultural and demographic shift within the Democratic Party that means that they're no longer interested in addressing inequality. If you don't have a political party that's addressing inequality, and I mean economic and social inequality, then what you'll get is a cry, a void, a need for those concerns to be addressed, for those needs to be met. The Democrat Party aren't going to do it. The Republican Party ain't going to do it. You're just going to end up with demagoguery, pedagogy, and rhetoric around those subjects, with no one making meaningful moves to help ordinary Americans, ordinary Canadians, ordinary people from all over the world. That's where I start to believe that we have more in common with one another than we do with the centralized.
I should have called you, Tomato. I'm sorry.
Governmental that prevent these kind of conversations or political movements taking place.
Even with the garbage I have, yeah, somebody should call.
They're more interested in symbolic
Let you double up.
Of helping people than actually getting on and helping people. They have become masters of finding ways of pretending to address those issues while actually carrying on on with business as usual. Look at this example. Christina Antelo, a
Hey,
corporate
double
lobbyist
up.
known for her reach within the Democratic Party, held court last month at a gala where her clients and other
I
lobbyists
stole that from you
rubbed
too with the
shoulders
shit hand I
lawmakers
had.
and congressional staff. Such a scene would be familiar to anyone who has spent significant time on Capitol Hill. Lobbyists host parties and fundraisers on a nightly basis in order to forge connections with policymakers, gather political intelligence, and nudge politicians into actions that benefit their clients. But this time, the influence effort was branded as a righteous celebration of racial progress, exploiting the cultural emphasis of liberal institutions to lobby on issues that have nothing to do with increasing diversity. So they're pretending that the event is about helping diversity, increasing diversity, supporting people that may not have conventionally been supported by their establishment, to just carry on with corporate lobbying. It was a night to welcome and celebrate diversity in the 180th Congress. The event was titled Diversity Across
Lines
the
just
Aisle,
went up.
featuring a dozen sitting members of Congress and many staff members. The lobbying shop, Ferox Strategies, currently represents a range of interests, including Walmart, Reynolds American, and Eli Lilly and Company, pharmaceutical companies and retail giants with incredible profits and incredible power. Lobbying for what? More diversity? To end inequality economically, racially, culturally? Let's have a look. In one photograph from the event, Irene Bueno, a lobbyist for Pfizer and Comcast, huddles with staffers to House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries. Well, to be fair to Pfizer, they don't care about race. They'll stick a vaccine in an arm of any colour. So this is an example, I would say, of illegitimate, demonstrative, but not authentic use of diversity with no intention of aiding or helping the necessary issues that ought be addressed, but simply to create lobbying opportunities. Ferox Strategies stands out as one of an emerging set of influence agents that have exploited the appetite for virtue signalling around diversity to push policies benefiting their clients. The firm often flaunts its access to identity-based organizations in Congress to leverage client relationships. Many people think, for example, that ESGs that the WEF recommend are not about helping the environment, simply are about ensuring that establishment power has new ways to hold on to that power, new ways to appear to be addressing problems, while really is business as usual. Let me know in the comments and chat. Do you think that these groups genuinely care about diversity, genuinely care about helping people that are disadvantaged either economically or because of long-standing cultural issues? Or do you think they care about increasing the profits of Walmart, Pfizer, Comcast, Eli Lilly? Let me know in the chat. In its message to clients sent after the event, Ferox bragged about using the diversity as a way to ingratiate its corporate clients with Democratic leaders. Ferox clients, Walmart, Alexion, and Waste Management joined a who's who of corporate sponsors to generously celebrate the most diverse Congress ever. The message noted, how diverse is it when it's contributing to a massive wealth transfer of $5 trillion during the pandemic? Those wealth transfers do not diversify wealth and opportunity.
Pair jacks.
They consolidate it and concentrate it. And events like this distract us from that fact. The invitation for the
You guys
event
get me on my
included the
blind, I'm going to pay for
LGBT
it.
Congressional Staff Association, the Black Women's Congressional Alliance, the Congressional Asian Pacific American Staff Association, and other identity-based professional societies.
Right now I'm
that
in
have
Michigan.
dual staff.
I work
The
in
largest
Michigan.
race-based congressional caucuses each
I work in Michigan. I live in Ohio, Northwest Ohio, far away from said train accident.
have sister non-profit groups that are funded and led by corporate lobbyists. Obviously, they're simply exploiting an opportunity to
It is so exciting, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to gain control, and I think I like you.
Where'd he go? What happened?
According to a new
Oh,
report, the word
shit.
freedom is race. I do not want race happily made. Obviously, they're simply exploiting an opportunity
Did it just? No.
to continue with their agenda as they have always done. I believe the issues that they're pretending to care about are important issues. And if these issues were correctly addressed, along with all inequality, most notably economic inequality, you would see real changes
Oh, the one that the federal government is basically ignoring.
in society. Real change in society means diminishing the potential for the powerful to continue to operate within systems that always prefer their desired outcomes. That change can never be allowed. The system will always happily make gestures. The system will always happily fund jamborees and galas that
I guess
don't
that's
change
kind of good,
anything
yeah.
and provide opportunities for Walmart. What we need is legitimate change, legitimate alliance, legitimate care and love that looks beyond identity and cares truly and authentically about all of our freedom. The advisory board to the CHCI, for instance, features representatives from JP Morgan Chase & Co., MasterCard, ExxonMobil, Apple, Airbnb, DaVita, Toyota, Reynolds American, Microsoft, and New York Life Insurance, among other interests. Those kind of corporations with that kind of power do not want radical reorganization of society, do not want radical reorganization of profit, do not want the disempowered empowered. What they want is the appearance of change, business as usual. Last month, Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services, Xavier Becerra, appeared with the Congressional Hispanic Caucus to swear in its first-year class of 9 new members. The event featured live music and a message from Jeffries. But before Becerra could administer the oath, Marco Davis, the president of the CHCI, paused the program to thank the sponsors of the swearing-in ceremony, including Genentech, Google, Amgen, Walgreens, and Target. We must have equality between Google, Amgen, Walgreens, and Target. Are we not all the same? Do we not all need iPhones? Do we not all want Walmart to succeed at any cost, paying people the minimum amount possible, extracting as much profit from America, ensuring through lobbying?
Most big box places are like that.
Empty, hollow shell. And if in order
They
to
won't chase
maintain
you.
this appearance of a system that meaningfully represents people, once in a while we have to promote a person who looks a bit different from most powerful people, by God, we'll do it. Now, here's some people that look a bit different from most powerful people, but ultimately their elevation, temporary, will not make any
Threes
difference
again?
in the interests of Walgreens, Apple. I promised myself I wouldn't cry.
Ugh.
Oh, Walgreens, Walmart. Damn it, we must build a better, more profitable world. He then handed the microphone to Omar Vargas, the head lobbyist for General Motors. At General Motors, we do not discriminate against anybody. And on occasion, when knowing there was something wrong with our vehicles, when it was discovered the callback cost was more expensive than the insurance payouts, we just let those people blow up and die. That is the kind of ethics we want. Here are some people of a variety of colors and identities who we would let blow up if we could make money from it. Now, please enjoy the free buy.
I can guarantee you it's been over 2 years since I've been to one,
Said
a
Vargas,
Walmart.
General Motors and I are personally extremely committed to diversity in the public policy profession, as long as it makes no difference to profits. If you had a political party that genuinely cared about helping ordinary people, the kind of policies that you'd hear them talk about would be ending lobbying, not finding new novel ways to do it, stopping people in Congress owning stocks and shares in the companies that they regulate, stopping enormous expenditure on wars that ultimately end up in the hands of the military-industrial complex, and ensuring that big companies in energy, for example, couldn't extract enormous profits while saying that there's an energy crisis. Also, what they might do is this. They might stop the annual wage theft of $50 billion that happens to workers based on this story. Employers steal billions of dollars from workers every year by paying less than minimum wage, making employees work off the clock, not paying earned overtime, misclassifying workers as independent contractors, and more. While wage theft is all too common, it is rarely reported. As a result, stolen wages are rarely recovered, leaving already low-wage workers even poorer and bosses even richer. That is the kind of thing that, if addressed, would make a meaningful difference to the interests of ordinary people and would negatively impact the interests of powerful institutions.
She's going in and out
corporate
signal
or
areas, so
governmental. So when people talking about that freedom is a dubious term, what
she
they're
may be
attempting
back.
to do is
Oh,
prevent
there she is.
galvanization.
Yeah, it's a signal issue with her, I'm
Of all
sure.
races, of all colors, with a wide range of interests that all ultimately could sit within the framework of a popular movement where we all enjoy more freedom, where we all enjoy more access to resources, and more importantly, democracy. Sometimes
Yeah, that's true. That would be. I'd go there just to record and get kicked out,
what it needn't be about is increasing centralization,
or buy
increasing
something
institutional
and
power,
just
increasing surveillance,
tell them to fuck off when they want to see my
increasing
receipt.
bigotry and hatred of people of all hues and colors.
That's always fun. Those are fun videos to watch.
Simply ensure that systems can continue to operate as they currently do for maximum profit and power without any concern for the impact it might have.
See if
on
they
you.
put their hands
This is
on
what
me.
I think. Let me know what you think in the comments in the chat. I'll see you in a second.
Now here's the fucking news.
Bob303 goes, I want freedom to not buy bombs with my tax money.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, that's right. 777 Lionheart, WF are just foot soldiers for the elites. Caribbean,
That's
look at the
six.
Human Party. Casper 14091990.
Some nice hole cards, but I had nothing on the board.
Hunter Biden, I'm not going to read out your name. You know that. Actually, I can read that name. Hunter Biden likes crack 2022. Sure on Rumble. We can say stuff like that. Guys needs a hat.
We're not all on Rumble though, but oh well.
And then Dark Dev says YouTube just cut out as soon as you mention natural immunity. Yeah, that's because we click off as soon as we get into subjects that are going to be censored on that platform, even though that was a mainstream media news report. And now there are official studies that state that natural immunity is more effective than vaccines, but the YouTube regulations do not acknowledge that, and that's why we're here. This is why this is our home. This is why we're on that platform. This is why we want you to join local, so you can join the conversation.
This is why I need you guys to check my link tree, and if I get popped again on YouTube, you can watch me on Rumble.
Introduce as our guest now, news editor at antiwar.com and friend of the show, Dave DeCamp. All right, Dave.
Hey, Russell, thanks for having me back.
Thanks for coming on at the last minute after Christian Smalls, Amazon Union leader, didn't get delivered. We still think he might be next door.
True.
At any moment,
He was very good at that.
As a surprise package. And
Whoa.
we're hoping to get him on the show tomorrow, boys.
Holy crap.
Particularly
I got a potential straight flush. I'm going to have to call on you guys.
Firstly, I understand you went to that anti-war rally yesterday.
I'm going to raise it. I'm going to put you all in too, LVA.
Balloons floating about. Were people terrified at the potential that that balloon could spy on them or drift into
Nope,
them?
we are. Oh, fuck y'all.
Yeah, I did see a few F-22s flying around. They might have spotted some balloons, but the rally was really great. It was the Rage Against the War Machine rally, and it brought together people from
straight
all
flush,
over
one
the
card for a
political
straight flush.
spectrum, which is, you know, our whole thing at antiwar.com. I was organized by the Libertarian Party and the People's Party. Speakers included Jimmy Dore, who I know was on here to promote it, and Ron Paul, which was really amazing, Chris Hedges, our guy Scott Horton, just a whole list, Max Blumenthal, Dan McKnight, just a great lineup. I mean, I'm missing a lot of people because there were so many speakers. And there was a good showing. There was a few thousand. Estimates I saw were between 3,000 and 4,000, which is good. You know, we hope
We'll probably do one more
time, but
with
I think it's a
357
good
if he's
start.
still
It's
around.
the first kind of rally of its kind during this current, you know, proxy war in Ukraine that brought together, again, everybody from the political spectrum. And they got the big names, and they spoke at the Lincoln Memorial, which was really great to see. And then they marched to the White House, and there was more speakers there. It was really just a good showing. And again, seeing the libertarians and the leftists and the conservatives just all mingling and talking, that was what made me really happy to see that they could get together on that. And I was there with my
No free
son,
cards.
who's 15 months old. He just started walking, so my attention was focused on that. I wanted to write up kind of like a proper report on it, but I had a great time. It was great to meet people there, and it really invigorated me, you know, gave me some new motivation.
I've got some pitches now for your son's autobiography if he goes on to be a significant public figure. March before I could walk, my first steps in the activist movement. No need to thank me, Dave. That's completely free. You can have that. Meanwhile, over in the, and also, by the way, those kind of political alliances that are forming, libertarians on the right, they're interested in individual freedom. People to the left of the Democrat Party who are interested in collective community freedom and the empowerment of communities rather than centralized government, devolution and decentralization, individual freedom. These are the banners and flags that we can all march under together, I reckon. Meanwhile, in that not a proxy war, isn't they get hotting up a bit, mate, because Zelensky does say that it's part of his plan to take Crimea. Zelensky has said that he never planned to honour the Minsk agreement about like what's going on in Donbass, and also, isn't it pretty clear that if Crimea gets taken, we might all find ourselves in a terrible pickle, nuclear Armageddon-wise?
Yeah, and there's a few interesting points there when it comes to Crimea. So last month in January, there was a report in the New York Times that said the Biden administration was considering helping Ukraine attack Crimea. Said they weren't concerned about escalation, and
You're raising it, huh?
that Putin hasn't used a nuke up to this point. That's all they're basing this on. Oh, he hasn't done anything yet. You know, we don't have to worry about it, which is really unbelievable. And they quoted somebody in there from the RAND Corporation. If you're familiar with that think tank, you know, they're funded by the U.S. military. They've been shaping U.S.
Yeah, I thought it
policy
was
for decades. And she said, "Oh, Putin, he hasn't really done anything big in response to attacks on Crimea. But that's not true. In October, if you remember the truck bombing of the Kerch Bridge, which connects Crimea to the
Welcome,
Russian
like
mainland,
muffins on Rumble.
after that is when Russia started the large-scale bombing of Ukraine's energy infrastructure, leaving millions of Ukrainians without power.
We're playing poker while we're
That she
watching
says
this.
that, and the New York Times reports it that way. Oh, they haven't done anything. It shows they don't care about Ukrainians. They're suffering much more.
Shows how dislocated are from the consequences of their actions. For the Ukrainian people, the loss of that energy was a pretty significant loss and a pretty considerable exacerbation in the conditions they're living under. And of course, we remember that bridge bombing because I feel like British special forces were significantly involved in enacting it. Remember it? By Jove, we did it. That's the British response to that line of inquiry. So what other developments around Crimea were you going to tell us about, mate?
Yeah, well, so recently, last week,
shit.
Anthony Blinken, the Secretary of State, he
Betting
acknowledged
them
that
out.
taking Crimea would be a red line for Putin, which, we've been saying all along, and people call us Putin apologists for that, but here's Blinken saying it. And there's also been other indications. The Pentagon briefed Congress and said they're not going to be able to retake Crimea. It's unlikely. A lot of U.S. officials have been saying this, and then you have the Ukrainians still saying that they're going to retake the peninsula. But I think behind the scenes, the U.S. is telling them, focus on this other territory for now, that, they want to push this offensive over the next few months to retake other territory that Russia controls. And there's talks that the U.S. is saying, there's reports that this aid isn't going to last forever. They don't believe that they can get these huge aid packages anymore when this one is exhausted, which should be by the summer. They're going to spend all of it. So that's pretty significant.
It's
But then
spent.
you see
What are you
Biden
talking about? It's
flying to
spent.
Kiev today, or however maybe he went on a train. I'm not sure how he got in, but to show Zelensky, that support from the U.S. And I think that's pretty big symbolic when it comes to the proxy war, the president of the United States entering a war zone. But maybe behind
war
the
zone.
scenes, in private meetings, he's telling them, all right, this aid spigot isn't going to be open forever. You got to start gaining some territory.
Oh no,
Is
it's
what
going to
the
be
US
open
wants
for
us
as
to
long
gain
as they
territory and then negotiate.
the
But
slave
Russia has been building up its
masters
forces for months and months,
wanted to.
and they're starting to gain territory. So these next few months are going to be pivotal, and there's talk that they're going to try to wind.
Zelensky has no control over how long this war is going to last. That's
things down, but anything can happen. I mean, the escalation risk is still there, of course. The risk of nuclear war and direct war between NATO and Russia has never been higher, and it's just madness. So hopefully it ends as soon as possible, and that these next few months aren't too bad.
Dave, you're getting a lot of love in our community on Locals. That's our membership community that any of you are welcome to join at any time and get additional content and the ability to communicate directly live in the show. MCMT says, hi, Russell. I really like Dave and I'm really enjoying his contributions. Trilo Bitterus, our government only cares about world political and economic domination, not the lives of Ukrainians or Russians. What do you think, mate, about not only this conflict, but the ongoing escalation of tension between Taiwan, China, and the United States? We did earlier on a little item of how the various ways in which the territory of Taiwan, forgive the use of that term, is comparable to Ukraine, i.e. vital resources, in this case, like the semiconductor industry, strategic benefits for the United States, already in a place where there is sort of militarization taking place. And also, what about the story that China
If you'd have bet, I'd have folded.
militarily aid Russia?
So with Taiwan, there's a lot there, and this has been going on for some time. I went over, last time I was here, so I don't want to say too much about how the U.S. used to handle it, but basically the U.S. used to give Taiwan, they would sell them weapons, but they wouldn't encourage them too much to declare independence because they knew that could start a war with China. But in recent years, the U.S. is really ramping up that support, and China is reacting immediately by increasing its military pressure on Taiwan. So that's all happening. What really concerns me with Taiwan is that in Congress, there is some opposition to the war in Ukraine, and it comes from a lot of Republicans. It's small, but it's still significant. But when it comes to Taiwan, a lot of them are all for sending these weapons, not to Ukraine, but to Taiwan.
Why would they? They're making too much money off of
He's a
us.
senator from Missouri, and he really encapsulates this line of thinking.
They'll lose
He wrote
everything.
a letter to Anthony Blinken. He said, all these weapons that you're shipping to Ukraine, get them over to Taiwan. They want to really increase the flow of weapons. Some more Republicans just wrote a letter to
Oh,
Biden
four.
saying
You
add
have a
$2
queen?
billion for military aid for Taiwan in your next budget. And again, China is warning, if you keep doing this, it could lead to war in the region, but the U.S. continues to provoke them. When they first started passing these bills that had military aid for Taiwan, Mitt Romney, the senator, if you're familiar with him, he said, what we're doing is very provocative and bellicose. Mitt Romney said that, and then he voted for it anyway. He voted in favor of sending them the aid anyway. So that's the path that we're going on there. And
Because he's a rhino. That's what they do.
It's not slowing down by any means because there's no opposition. If you know Ro
You can have that,
Khanna
Anna.
from California, House Representative, Democrat, progressive, he's against the Middle East wars. He's very good on Yemen and issues like that. He just went to Taiwan this weekend. I mean, there's no opposition. And that's what really scares me. That's why I think we have to wake a lot of people up to understand that the U.S. is preparing for war in the Asia Pacific, encouraging Japan to double its military budget,
Are they?
giving South Korea everything it wants, sending more bombers to the Korean Peninsula, increasing bases in the Philippines, opening a new base in Guam, expanding their military presence in Micronesia.
Look, Guam
People
was
vote
a
for
U.S.
that,
territory.
to expand the U.S. military footprint in Micronesia or Palau or
That's
the Marshall
tiny.
Islands.
They're
This is all
they're adding
happening,
another
and
base
people
to
need
Guam.
wake up to it and say, we can't be doing this because we're going to provoke another war, and it's the people over there. Unless it turns nuclear right away, it's the people in Taiwan, it's the people in Southeast Asia, it's the Chinese who are going to suffer.
It seems that we have systems that require conflict and crisis in order to sustain themselves. And in terms of US politics, currently there is no option that will not give you
We're all getting shit cards, looks like.
of global agitation. It seems like the Republican right, or the Republican Party in particular, are keen to escalate tension with China. The Democrats have for several years now demonized Russia, and the idea that diplomacy, a multipolar worlds where different regions have different government that don't require intervention seems odd to me at this point in our history, when progress seems observable in the areas of technology and medicine in so many ways, that we're making such rudimentary errors when the consequences could be so grave. And it's great that you're the War March, that you and Jimmy and everyone from Grey Zone and all those groups that we're really supportive of and consider ourselves to be allies with, creating a movement around it. But it feels like it's something that needs to become pretty radically and significantly popularized, and is going to require a meaningful political base. And do you see anything like that being able to emerge, Dave?
Well, again, I was pretty hopeful after this weekend, and I have friends in the Libertarian Party. I'm a member. I'm not too involved. I focus my work at antiwar.com, and we're a nonprofit, so we can't do political work, but I am a supporter personally. And, the Libertarian Party is the third largest political party in the U.S., and right now they're focusing on local elections. And, that's kind of our whole thing as libertarians, is decentralization and localizing. And
That queen.
So that's really important. And again, when
No,
it comes to the coalition, I think is very important just to be able to drop it. I mean, we had Ron Paul and Dennis Kucinich at this rally, and back when they were in Congress, Kucinich, the progressive, and Ron Paul, the right-wing libertarian, they worked together on all sorts of issues that they aligned on. That's really what we have to push. And luckily, we're always talking about the mainstream media, how they control the narrative. I mean, since I've been on your show, I've been checking out Rumble more, and I see these shows on here getting huge audiences, and I think that's really encouraging. And also, Joe Rogan is the biggest media in the world. And my friend Dave Smith, I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, he's a comedian. It's a podcast called Part of the Problem. He went on Joe Rogan, and he told him, the truth about how the U.S. provoked the war in Ukraine, and that got millions of views on YouTube. And so I think we're living in a very good time to be pushing this. Of course, we have the censors with big tech, but there's ways around it. And it's exciting. I'm excited, and it's tough to not get too cynical doing what I do.
Okay. Have you worked here before?
All this horrible stuff. But again, this weekend,
Okay.
I'm really motivated.
Have you ever worked with
really
it? You said you
appreciate
haven't.
you who have
All right.
big
Well, let's start off by
platforms
let's having you do the
have
mobile
us on
application.
to speak these truths that people need to hear.
The number you're calling me from, can it receive text?
Much of the
All right, I'm gonna send you a text with the link on it. Just click on that link, do the mobile application, and then just text me back as soon as you're done, okay?
Projection of inane stories and the provocation of division and entrenched and overly lobbied political parties suggest that there is an awareness that now more than ever the potential for change because of the information and communicative advances that have occurred in the last 10, 20 years require extreme effort to control, and that is cause for optimism. So Dave, thanks for coming on here. Thanks for the incredible work that you're doing, and I'm going to be in America in the next couple of weeks. I hope that we get to connect soon. Thanks for joining us today, Dave. I appreciate it.
Yeah, that would be great. Yeah, thanks again for having me.
Remember that title I gave for your son's potential forthcoming autobiography, March Before I Could Walk, my first tentative steps as an activist. Might become relevant, I don't know.
That's pretty great, yeah.
It was all right, wasn't it, that I came up with that? Thanks, Dave.
Thanks.
Cheers, mate. Take care. On the show tomorrow, we've got Julia Rock coming on.
Sorry,
She's
guys.
from The Lever. She's reporting on the Ohio train wreck and the lobbying by rail companies to avoid safety measures that haven't led to, oh no, there's been a massive train wreck. We're going to be talking about that story a little bit more and its connotations. I like the way that it exposes the hypocrisy and lack of depth to the rhetoric around ecological care. Now, this is an opportunity to bring people together. Right? Look, we're talking about the ecology, the environment, how much we care about it. Here's a chance for us to demonstrate that care through our actions, and that's not what's happening.
No, it isn't what's happening. I think, what's been labelled at the Biden administration and Buttigieg as well is that,
Oh, well said. You actually said his name right, Buttigieg. I never feel confident saying Buttigieg.
I think the best is that they've been basically silent and just haven't really been involved in this. And at worst, there's some of the things that the Lever are uncovering, which we spoke about earlier, and obviously Julie will talk about that tomorrow.
He said Buttigieg.
About them literally siding with the railroad company.
We've got some other exciting content tomorrow for you. You've got to join us. We're speaking to Dan Cohen on the NIH's search for the new Fauci. I hope they do it like a talent show, like America's Got Talent. New Fauci. Do you like royalties? Have you got a good history? What's your connections like with the pharmaceutical industry?
What are the possibilities?
No connections to the pharmaceutical industry, and I hope that they'll start there. Please also sign up to our local community. That's what I respond to. And whoever sent that picture like of some boobs or whatever, I don't feel like you should do that in this kind of chat. I mean, I don't agree with censorship. I agree with free speech, but I also agree with politeness and kindness. But I feel like people are sorting that out among themselves.
Stop looking at it.
I'm not. They're not mine.
The chat. Somebody making boobs in the chat.
Sure. Okay.
Hold on, let me just make sure whether that's wrong or right. No, that's definitely wrong. That's wrong. No, we are anti-censorship. I'm also pro-respect, am I?
Yes, you are.
Thought I was. See.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a member of Locals, you can join us for our weekly show.
Locals. Someone's probably just uploading pictures. Yeah, you can upload pictures to the chat in
with
Locals.
Someone from the community, like they'll go, oh, I've had my heart broken or something like that, and then I do a meditation with them, and I'm almost
Really?
2
years of the day, huh?
Stand-up special will be coming soon. You'll get it exclusively.
It took him almost 2 weeks to even say anything about it.
And if that wasn't enough, I'm coming to your country if you're in America. On March the 2nd, I'll be in LA at the Vermont Theatre, and on March the 6th, I'm going to be in Tampa at the Billheimer Capitol Theatre. You can go to RussellBrand.com and get your tickets. Although they're on my mailing list, I think they got those first. Join us tomorrow, not for more of the same.
Yes, I do.
But for more of the different. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, just watching it all happen.
This is it. This is me doing my work, doing what I do best. Join us tomorrow, not for more of the same, but for more of the different. Until then, stay free.
Switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off, switch off.
What was her last name? What was it, the hyphenation of her last name? Remember? Let's see. Maybe if I just do that. I might have her still on the. Oh yeah, can't do. Oh, it's backwards. It's the Sanchez Avila. That would be why. It gives me less confidence that I'm going to have what you need. Wow. How long did she work for us with her name backwards? That's crazy. Let's see. Yeah, Fernando didn't. He got apparently Social Security office told him he can't start yet, so I don't know what's going on with his paperwork. That one from his. I don't really, that Kiva. I don't really know about him. Let's see. I have a permanent resident green card, and then I have her Mexican consulate card. No big deal. I'll send it over. I don't think either one has a social on it, though, so that's probably what you guys are getting a kickback on, right? Social. You can't work without. Well, I guess, yeah, if you just have a passport. I mean, technically, I can take that as an A group document. Yeah, I'll send you what I got. It's no big deal. She's worked for both of us, so she's no. Well, that's fine. She deserved it. She's been with me for over a year. So, all right, I'm gonna download it. I'll email it over to you. No problem. Bye. Check. Sorry, guys. What happened to the? Oh, it's over with. No, we're not watching anything. Something going on in the background here. What do we got? Check. He usually has good.
Consulting with the attending physician for Congress, Dr. Brian P. Monahan. And so that's the context there. Here you go. The current Democrat senator representing the state of Pennsylvania is possibly going to be out for a month. What I'm really questioning is whether he's been in.
All right.
It doesn't seem like the state of Pennsylvania voters have representation in the Senate.
Really, never seen Rumble. Well, if I get banned on YouTube too many more times, that's the only place I'll be. Well, that and what other place hasn't kicked me off.
From the New York Times, Fetterman's disclosure of depression signals a new openness on mental health. Oh, he's unhero. He's a trendsetter, a trailblazer. Talking points have gone out. John Fetterman is brave for checking into hospital for depression. President Biden on Twitter writes, except of course it's not President
You have diamonds?
Twitter at all. It's President Biden's aides, John and Giselle. Jill and I are
Yeah,
thinking
you have
about your
diamonds.
family today. Millions of people struggle with depression every day, often in private. Getting the care you need is brave and important. We're grateful to you for leading by example. Yes. Apparently, John Fetterman is now a leader. Green John Pierre chimes in, pushing the same talking point.
Millions of Americans, as you all know, go untreated.
It is, and it's getting better all the time. I will say that.
Senator Fetterman did the right thing and brave thing today or just this week.
Brave thing?
By getting the help that he definitely needs.
USA Today writes, it's true. Telling your story is brave. Asking for help is brave. Very brave decision by Fetterman. One that will save lives. And a historic one in the ongoing quest to reduce the stigma of mental health.
You should have backed out of the election.
Total health. A message we've been working to communicate, especially
Yeah,
to
we're
the
almost
military
free.
and veteran community for decades. Democrats get their official talking point, they insert it into their freaking memory chip, and all start parroting the same talking point. Oh, stunning and brave, stunning and brave. But there's something deeply twisted and manipulative going on here. All I see is a bunch of enablers. This isn't stunning and brave. This seems to be a man on a path of absolute self-destruction, enabled by a power-hungry political mob
Can we get it
who
straight?
just want to keep him as a placeholder. All he is to them is
Yeah, use
a
my
number,
link
a
in
number
the link tree there.
He's number 51. Can't let that go. And it seems almost as if
It's a little bit more of a
Democrats are willing to
delay.
sacrifice him as long as it means they keep that precious number 51. I find it so despicable. I mean,
What'd you have?
politics
Oh, you had
aside,
the
we're
straight.
seeing
Yeah, you
a
did have
man
straight.
before us fall apart. And the whole thing is covered in a shroud of lies,
You
misrepresentation,
knew if you'd have bet, we'd have been folded
manipulation,
in
and
anyway.
enabling. At first, they told us, don't worry, John Fetterman's fine. He can serve his full duties. Well, clearly he can't if he's constantly in and out of the hospital. Don't worry, he's fine. Don't you know that most stroke victims get most of their cognitive ability back? I mean, that was a talking point that they were pushing. That, of course, is complete nonsense. John Fetterman suffered severe brain damage from the stroke to the extent that he can't hear people speak. He can't handle moments of stress. He clearly cannot speak himself as well. He is cognitively disabled, and it took
Sorry,
nearly
guys.
a year for the Fetterman campaign to release a statement, I believe it happened last week, where they stated that it's unlikely that he's to actually improve moving forward. After nearly a year of talking points of on his road to recovery, on a road to recovery, clearly there's no recovery in sight. Clearly the exact opposite is happening. He's gone from a stroke that caused severe brain damage to now, possibly due to all the stress of his job, being the topic of national discussion, holding clearly such an important role in the Democrat establishment. I mean, he's number 51, going through a rigorous campaign, the most highly
You got big
contested
flush,
general
don't you?
election
Damn it.
midterm campaign of 2022. After all of that stress continues to beat him down and clearly break him down, and now he's suffering severe clinical depression, and he's to be possibly held in a hospital for up to a month. I'm just gonna freaking say, you compassionate Democrats are literally killing the man. To continue enabling what we're seeing here is deeply, deeply unethical. John Fetterman cannot fulfill his duty to the voters who elected him. He is unfit and unwell. He cannot hold that Senate seat. And I'm not even saying that from a partisan perspective. Let's get a special election and hopefully a Republican wins and takes that seat. I honestly don't even think that would currently be possible considering current political trends. I mean, it's not exactly a Republican favored environment right now, at least probably not in the state of Pennsylvania. The 2022 midterms was a significant hit to Republican voter morale. It's not a partisan thing for me. I don't want John Fetterman to get replaced with a Republican. I just think it's unethical to continue enabling this man in his path of clear self-destruction. He should just be replaced in general. If he's replaced by a Democrat, so be it. Just as a human being, I am personally unwell. I have an issue. I have an ethical issue with seeing this man clearly suffer in the public eye. There's something deeply disturbing about it. And there's something even more disturbing with the Democrats who enable it. This whole stunning and brave nonsense. I mean, just how freaking partisan these people are. How opportunistic it all is. Oh, how stunning and brave. Oh, what a brave individual. I mean, what's it going to take for Democrats to wake up? For John Fetterman to suffer another stress-induced stroke? I mean, one of the main factors in leading to a stroke is stress. You have an individual who's now suffering from clinical depression, who's clearly prone to heart attacks and strokes, and Democrats are pushing him out there in possibly one of the worst environments for the man's mental health and physical well-being. Induce another stroke on the guy.
I mean,
Of course, they don't care. He's number 51. I don't know. On the whole John Fetterman thing, I feel kind of like a broken record. But somebody's got to say it. Clearly, the Democrats never will. Clearly, the mainstream media never will. They're all parroting the same Democrat talking point of stunning and brave. But it's yet again another deeply, deeply unethical trait of the aggressively partisan left. They are literally killing the guy. That's what I got for you guys, though. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Of course, we would love to have you here at the Liberal Hive Mind. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
I'm Aaron Mate, sitting in for Jimmy Dore, here with Misha Pollan and
So wait, on Rumble. Okay, so
let's
I
do an
have
update on what's happening in East Palestine, Ohio. This train derailment spewing a toxic disaster.
Yeah, so you have your username and then you have channels too. I didn't realize it when I first set mine up.
Coming out. So here's the latest from News Nation. FEMA.
I accidentally, once in a while, I'll accidentally stream to my username, and nobody sees it.
The Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA, has denied assistance
But
to
on
Governor
both.
Mike DeWine.
I mean, the one on the link, on my Linktree link,
for the residents of East
for
Palestine.
my channel.
According to a press release from DeWine's office, he spoke with White House officials early on Thursday morning to request additional help amid concerns
28 people
over the
following
release
on
of
the
toxic chemicals following a February 3rd Norfolk Southern train derailment in which about 50 freight cars derailed, 10 of which were carrying hazardous materials. The DeWine administration has been in daily contact with FEMA to discuss the need for federal support, the release stated. However, FEMA continues to tell Governor DeWine that Ohio is not eligible for assistance at this time. Dan Tierney, a spokesperson for DeWine, said that FEMA didn't believe the incident qualified as a traditional disaster. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre said on Thursday that there were multiple federal agencies present in the neighborhood, and President Biden spoke
Trying to
directly to
scare me
Governor
off.
DeWine to offer
Cut my
federal
fours.
assistance. But why wouldn't they declare this to be a disaster and bring in FEMA? That's strange. The release of toxic chemicals threatened the health of thousands of people and forced a community evacuation. Although an evacuation order has now been lifted, there is an ongoing concern among residents over air and water quality. Some residents have reported a burning sensation in their eyes as well as headaches. Others have said they have seen dead fish in area streams or had livestock die. The Ohio EPA also said a chemical plume of butyl acrylate in the Ohio River that stems from the derailment is well below the parts per billion that the CDC considers hazardous.
They're both free,
They
I
also
thought.
said
I mean,
no
publishers, if you
fluoride
want
has
to
been detected
stream from it,
in the Ohio River.
then it's like
Several
once you hit
lawsuits have been
25
filed following the
followers, you
disaster.
don't have to
One
pay,
lawsuit
but it's like
alleges
$10 a month
Norfolk Southern's efforts to
until
clean up
they
and mitigate
get
the
their
incident
infrastructure
have
together.
instead worsened the situation. Malcolm, you've been observing all this.
You can upload from the free account, though.
Apparent disinterest so far from the federal government in responding to this, not wanting to.
You just
bring
can't
in
live stream without the
Well, I think
publisher
the
account.
first thing is that there's a natural reaction
I don't
on the
know,
part
unless
of
things
all
have
American
changed.
politicians virtually and legislators and the certainly the national security state, everybody, when they hear about suffering of Palestinians, is to ignore it.
And the way I've set it up too is everything I stream on YouTube gets copied over to
anybody's
Rumble
gonna
anyway.
exclude Palestinians, even if they're in the United States, apparently. But this seems like an opportunity for both the Democrats and Republicans to blame each other, but also downplay the importance of it, because they both want to, the Democrats want to blame the Republicans, it's
You
a
got
Republican
two
governor,
pair there? Nope.
and
Ooh, two pair.
obviously
Fuck
the
you.
Republican governor wants
GG.
to blame the Democrats and the Biden administration.
All right, let's set up another
but they
table.
both also
357
are
can get
united
in.
in wanting to protect Norfolk Southern, their benefactor, and
Nice game, LVA.
The powerful interest, the powerful corporate interest that is ultimately
Animated in the money.
responsible.
Broke even on that table.
Here's Brianna Joy Gray of Rising, talking about how industry groups lobbied to exclude toxic chemicals from rail safety regulations, prevent the mandatory application of safer brake systems, and ignore rail worker demands for staffing changes that could improve rail safety. Here she is breaking some of this down.
Over the
Set it for 30 minutes after the hour.
same time period during which the railroad industry was fighting safety measures, they were also slashing their workforce by nearly 30%.
Why is this lagging?
And
What is this?
embracing a scheduling strategy known as but the old air brake system. Thanks again, lobbyists. While the new brake system activates on all the cars at once, the problem with the old brake system is that it operates kind of like a slinky sequentially down the line, and it causes the train to jackknife and derail when the brakes are activated suddenly. Candace Wagner, a freight rail conductor, member of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen Union based in Pittsburgh, and 2022 Socialist Workers Party candidate for governor of Pennsylvania, said, quote, "The rail bosses, backed by the federal government, refuse to address any safety or other substantive issues raised by rail workers through our unions in the recent negotiations. And their lust for profits, the railroad bosses are running increasingly long, heavy trains and pushing on rail workers smaller crews, arbitrary schedules, longer shifts, and more work than ever before. Massive cuts have been made in the operating crafts, car inspectors, mechanical and maintenance of workforces. All this leads to derailments like this."
Crazy. Here is more.
I'm on Telegram too, yeah. I don't really run a channel on it. I just
Southern may have to pay
read a
$40
few
million
things. Let's set up.
in a casualty charge in 2022. The company generated some $12.7 billion in revenue and $3 billion in profits. Let's hear from our Transportation Secretary, Pete Buttigieg.
My connection's fine.
What does he have to say about all this?
Look, rail safety is something that that has evolved a lot over the years, but there's clearly more that needs to be done.
Maybe 120. Get behind him a little bit.
Because while this horrible situation has gotten a particularly high amount of attention, there are roughly 1,000 cases a year of a train.
Jump in there and then jump in the shower.
Sounds like you want us to focus on one of those other 1,000 cases, not this one.
I'm so reassured by that. Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Should we? Silly to have concerned ourselves with this one. And there's like 999 other ones. Pete Buttigieg doing a good, bang up job, Pete.
Well, he's right.
Oh, here, let's open up a table for you, a cash table above. No mercy.
One. This is from More Perfect Union. Breaking, a train is just derailed.
I'll set one out.
Detroit. At least 6 cars came off the track, and one was carrying hazardous materials. It's a footage of that.
Here you go. That was right down the road from here. They said there was no leak there, though.
Amazing this happens just a few months after Biden breaks a rail strike. Workers calling for better conditions, including more safety. It's great timing. Here's another tweet. It is quite honestly a miracle anytime a train carrying something.
Thanks, buddy. Let's see.
Remotely dangerous makes it through Ohio unscathed.
29 followers now. Thank you. Only comment in the chat is from Electric Muffins.
Video of this. Look at this.
Oh, 40,000? Sorry. Let me fix that. Oops. Great tip. Oh. How do you make them custom? The lowest it'll go is 40 on mine.
After years of neglect, these Ohio trains are in desperate need of repair.
Oh, 1,600 chips.
All the money in the world to send off for weapons in Ukraine, and meanwhile, events like this happen, and federal government doesn't want us to talk about it. Here is footage of the water that some officials are saying is fine.
Apparently, I don't know how to make these games. No worries, man. I just paid the $2 and I got like 2 million chips.
Wow.
I don't have to worry about it anymore. Or 1 million chips.
Look at all that. Look at it. It's all in the bar.
Why is this fucking lagging so bad? Is this him? It's not. None of the other streams are doing that. Oh, I'm not right. Network. Got 17 people watching. I started like right after, just as his stream was ending. I don't even think he knew. This is in Val's club anyway, so I don't even think he's in FIC's club. He's not interested in playing unless he's getting some money out of it. So, which everyone who watches, switch your pieces.
The Illuminati's response is, oh, where is it? So they didn't like his performance.
Shall we gas up the drone with the heart attack darts?
Excellent.
How's that?
Let's control Apple C.
And Trevor Moore had a suspicious death, according to a lot of people. What was suspicious about it was, well, he fell off a second story at his house at like 2-something in the morning, bonked his head, and he was fucking dead. And just there was weirdness with the autopsy reports, and just how, again, they first said it. I forget, man. I may have the shows uploaded. I could go back and listen.
Pulled up an old distance
exactly,
roll.
but the original, they had like one original report, and it was
Video,
it was something
I think
stupid.
it's
Then when
Odyssey.
they released the autopsy report, it was like even weirder, man. It was like I don't just how he fell. I don't know how he died. And his wife allegedly spoke out and was like, people need to quit thinking anything other than what happened. Some people allege that he had some drinking problems. Maybe he was drunk and slipped over. Again, I have no idea, but it was just very suspicious, man. If you read and saw everything that happened around him dying. And again, you can go, why the fuck would they go and kill somebody like that? I don't know. Why does anybody get killed, man? I'm shocked that they let this stuff on TV. And for those that watch my show, you're like, oh my gosh, he showed this shit so much. But hey, do some things for a reason. Trevor talks to kids.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good. Nice to meet you.
Okay, class. This is Trevor, and he works in television, and he is going to talk to us today, okay?
Okay. Hi, how's everyone doing? High five. Oh, there we go. I work in television on a comedy show. Does anybody here want to work in television when they grow up? Okay, okay. Who likes comedy? Who's the class clown?
Joey!
Joey? Joey's the class clown?
I saw Sarah at recess, and this is what her face looks like.
Okay, all right.
I want to be an astronaut.
Oh, you want to be an astronaut? Well, that's great. You can be an astronaut. All you have to do is study flying or science, and maybe someday you could be the first astronaut to walk on the moon.
No! There already was an astronaut who first walked on the moon.
Well, no, not really. That wasn't real. See, there was this thing called the Cold War, and in order to beat the Russians, we kind of faked that. That never happened. You see how there's no windows on the side? And see underneath where there's like a pod thing? What's that, right? Take a look at this wreckage. See how there's no plane parts on the ground there? What does that look like?
A mecca.
Sweet. You see, President Bush was in a secret society at Yale called the Skull and Bones. His dad was too, and they all worship Satan.
President Bush worshipped Satan?
In my personal opinion, absolutely. And one of the Skull and Bones initiation rituals is that to get in, you have to lie naked in a coffin and masturbate in front of the older members. But the really messed up thing is that since former President Bush, Bush Sr., was also a member, he requested to be there to watch his son's initiation. So he watched his own son masturbate. President Bush masturbated in front of his dad. It's pretty gross.
Trevor talks to kids. We're all high-fiving him in the classroom. Oh, shit. That was on The Whitest Kids You Know. That was on The Whitest Kids You Know. Yeah, dude, if you go listen to a lot of his music, go see a lot of the comedy that he did. Yeah, he shared a lot of information, some just being satirical and parody. Like, I don't. Do you really think he thought that gay spores got released? I don't think so. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe there was something deeper to that song than people even know. But yeah, he shared a lot of shit that I'm sure some people want
There we go.
Being heard. I don't know if that does make you fall off the second story accidentally, or I still enjoy his shit though, man. Seriously, I love so much of the stuff that he put out. So it's like sucks though, like
Position better. Is that cool?
Yeah, go for it.
What if you like pick a law? I'm sure that you can think of one that you have a strong disagreement with, like a moral disagreement with, like that law is immoral. Should you disobey that law?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm on the line of constitutional conservative, so the line of any law repugnant to the Constitution is not a law. I completely agree with it. That's my basic point of view.
I didn't ask if it disagreed with the Constitution. I asked if we can think of a law, even if it was in the Constitution, that you thought was immoral. Should you disobey that law?
Yes.
Good. I absolutely agree. Yeah, so I mean, that's an important question because a lot of people would struggle with that. A lot of people wouldn't realize that what you just did is you put your own moral judgment above that of the law and the government's. That's a powerful, important thing to realize. Like at the end of the day, your sense of morality and what is morally justified overrides what is law.
And a lot of that is what the founding of our country was supposed to be about. It wasn't just taxation without representation. It was also freedom of morality and religion from government.
Have you worked there before?
Your property, your rights, your family, your entire life.
If that's what there's two spots that they're doing forklift
if you
and
know that
depending on the
something
shift.
is bad to do to somebody else, is it okay for you to try and get someone else to do it for you? So as long as it's not you doing it, it's okay? Or is it also bad if you pay or hire somebody else to do the bad thing for you?
It's also bad.
Okay. So that obviously the analogy there, and I agree with you totally, right? Like if it's immoral to hold somebody up in an alleyway to rob them, it's also immoral for you to hire somebody to do that for you, right?
You're talking about like the IRS as far as tax collections, yeah.
Well, that would be one of a billion examples, right? Where people basically use the government to do a bunch of terrible things to everybody around them, right?
Yep.
Okay. So I think then the next question's easy. Can people by voting give politicians the right to do things which none of the people voting have the right to do themselves?
Here's where we get into the fun part. As a basic premise on its own, I would say no. But then we get into the weeks-long philosophy on if you don't allow any of that, if there's no collective right that you can create or delegate, then how do you make a actual functioning society? So that's where we would get into on my end. Can you anarchy and volunteerism actually work without some kind of without the use of force, without being able to vote, without having a majority that can decide what happens to some level? How do you get that system to work?
I mean, I understand your fears with that stuff. They're very, very rational fears. Like, yeah, if we don't have this thing that has always existed and that we've always been taught is the just authority to right the wrongs and to protect us all.
I
if we get
do,
rid of that,
but
how the hell are we going to be safe? And how the hell is society going to be at all ordered? I understand. Believe me, I had all those same questions, years ago as well. But the question I asked, and I would love a really clear answer on.
Yeah, I wouldn't have offered it to you if I'd have thought.
Yes or no? Can people, by voting, give politicians the right to do things that they don't themselves possess?
We do that. Let's not too far to start, but
I don't think anybody has ever made an argument opposite of that. Like, you can't give somebody else authority to do something that you don't have the authority yourself to do. That's pretty obvious and plain to see, right?
Yes.
And so obviously the implication of that is,
we consider it as
we don't have the right to.
Well, I consider
regulate the people around us and what behaviors they can and can't do.
Put other people in
they
danger.
can
Don't
and
put
can't
yourself in
say,
danger because we're insuring you while
they
you're
can
there.
and can't run, and like all of these things. We don't have the right to do any of this stuff. And yet somehow people cast votes that somehow magically, invalidly, empower these politicians to do all those things that none of these people have the right to do.
Funny thing is, I think
what do you think about that?
James has a couple of really fun books that focus on just that he's always promoting.
Which ones?
I don't even remember the name.
Driver lived back in 1997. I worked at Arbor Foods, sugar factory in Front Street.
Uh-huh.
On the east side of Toledo, So it was a buddy of mine, and I was aiding him, and he was, had his hand on, the bar here,
Mm-hmm.
He's talking to me, and I had my wheel turned. I didn't realize.
Mm-hmm.
So he's talking to me, and and all of a sudden he's hopping around on the floor, and I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You ran my food over. Oh, bro, so horrible, bro. Even if I didn't like the guy, I'm still not going to hurt y'all a bit, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, everyone's responsible. I mean, when you're in a situation like that, he's responsible for where his feet are. So.
Yeah, though, man.
Yeah, don't worry about Sam.
I'm I'm on the straight and narrow.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, Sam's a
I wasn't fucked up.
It's fine.
I don't want that to happen.
You don't know what you're talking about, Sam.
Names of them.
Do you remember, James?
What's the one about the magic voting system that you like so much? You were playing the audiobook of it.
Earlier today?
No, like a couple of years. You brought it up and you played the audiobook on your stream.
Was huge,
some of the audiobooks I've played are Frederick Bastiat, The Law. I've played today there was The Most Dangerous Superstition. Those are like my two always go to. Sometimes I talk about Lysander Spooner, the Constitution of No Treason, or the Constitution of No Authority. I'm not sure. Is it one of those?
I think Greatest Superstition is the one that's closest to what Patrick's talking about right now, as far as not being able to give power to a group.
Let me see if I need it. Just need to see if.
You know what? There's also one that's kind of a Christian pacifist type perspective. Leo Tolstoy. What's that book called? The Kingdom of God is Within You. And that talks about like war and, if it's not okay for one man to kill one man, it's not okay if, two of us decide that we want to go kill this guy, that it's okay. It's not okay if 100 of us or 1,000 of us. So how many
$500
does it take to turn an immoral act into a moral act?
They decide when they want to, but yeah. And sometimes they will do it early. They'll just pay us.
That was kind of my next question. I was going to ask him, and these are all like super basic questions, so none of this has got you. I have agreed with everything you've said so far.
So you're staying here in Monroe now?
I know where this argument's going.
You in Toledo?
It's just, It gets really deep when you
Okay.
actually.
No,
try
I just
to
Secret also has a
out,
building in Toledo too.
on a level that's going to work out.
I mean, it's not
versus
that
a level of what's pie in the sky ideology.
Exactly.
This whole conversation gets real deep, real fast.
I hate the pie in the sky stuff. It's so detached from
that's
basic understandings of morality.
Let me
and
let's get your
relationships.
info updated. Though.
And that's not at all what I'm about. Like, these are all really straightforward questions, right? Like, here's another one. Do you believe that right and wrong apply the same to everybody? Like,
Either way,
it's wrong for me to
the-
murder.
even the
Is
one
it
in
also wrong
Temperance
for
is
you to
like right over
murder.
the
And is it
line.
also wrong for a
Up a
soldier to
Craig
murder
Street
or
or
a
Crab.
politician to murder?
Yeah.
Yes, but that's where we run into problems with applying an anarchy system worldwide, is because there's other culture groups out there who have very, very different ideas of what's right and wrong than we do. So we can agree, whatever the Christian Western society, on what's right and wrong very closely. There's small levels of stuff where we disagree. Stuff like
First
abortion,
name, not last
is
name.
abortion murder, or is abortion a right, that kind of thing. But overall, our society is going to agree on the basic moral principles.
Well, I'm talking about what you believe, not what they believe in commie China or whatever. Like, you believe that it's just as wrong for you to murder somebody as for the poobah of China or the president of the United States. It's just murder is murder. It's wrong for everybody. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right?
Absolutely.
Is there any way, and this is kind of the same question, but is there any way in which you can change something that's immoral into something that is moral without changing the act? Like, is there any process or grand dance or, let's say, voting?
Don't bite into it, dirty dog. He's just trolling.
Or anything that can make murder not murder, or can turn murder into something moral without like actually changing the act in question. So for example, like I'm taking someone's life non-consensually without changing that, what happened. Is there a way to change the moral judgment of it?
I guess the gray space in there would be what, the death penalty for murdering somebody else. But as a basic principle, no.
Yeah. So this is kind of the same thing as the first question, but I mean, is it ever good to break the law?
Good to break? If the law is immoral and unjust, yes, it's good to break the law.
Oh God, you know, like, this is such basic stuff, right? But when I hear other people answer these questions with like the obvious answers, it like, dude, it gets me so pumped. I love seeing people.
Okay, just like the example, you see how
people
temp has
wouldn't answer
uppercase,
the way that you're
lowercase,
answering,
and
man.
the numbers,
Most
and then
people
the
would
symbol.
like put the just authority in the hands of whatever the law is, and like, if the law says it's okay, then it's not good to break the law ever. Like, it's just good to see people thinking for themselves. So I'm glad that's you.
I'm pretty educated. I've been involved in politics and ideology since I was in my fucking 5th grade. We're not far apart on all of it. It really is just, I've never seen an anarchist come up with a system in real life today that could actually survive, thrive, and even make itself prove to be so superior that other people would start copying.
And they'll log you
it
back
or
in
want
with
to
that
join it.
password.
That's the point of separation between me being a limited government constitutionalist, really enthralled with what the founding fathers were trying to do on 75%.
Yeah.
Versus a straight up anarchist.
No, I got you. I mean, I was there my whole first half of my life. Believe me, like, I understand what you're saying, and I understand your fears. Okay, last of my stupid weird questions, and then maybe we can talk about your system, right? So the last question I really have for you is, do you think it's okay for government to force you to fund things that you are morally opposed to?
No.
I mean, I agree. Would you try and force me to fund something I was morally against?
No.
Of course not. And I would never force you to fund something that you were morally opposed to. No, even if we disagreed, I would not force you. I would afford you the respect of not forcing you to pay for things that you don't want. So
that's where we get into the fun part of things. Like, well, the easiest discussion on that would be paying for the military, right? So if nobody pays for military, let's say if we're talking hundreds or thousands of years ago, people collectively versus independently. Independently, you could have your neighbors have muskets, pitchforks, swords, whatever, and you might be able to survive. But now in the age of high-tech shit, if the other country has a whole bunch of high-tech shit and just wants to fucking kill all of you, and all you've got is rifles because
just put no. It's been long enough.
You can't afford to fly F-15s unless you've got one hell of a group of volunteerists. How does your society survive versus the hostile world out there?
I just want to make sure, because it sounds like you walked it back a little bit. Let's say I disagreed with funding the military. Would you force me to fund it?
I would not want to, no. But I also would. I need to see a system where we can make that work.
Hang on.
Without
load some forms for you to fill out now.
Kicked.
Let's say
it's not a fear thing. It's just an analysis of history.
I'm about to spend time answering these practical questions that you have. I just want to make sure, like, morals come before practicalities, and so I want to make sure that we're clear on the morals. And it sounds like we are. Like, you would not force me, even if I didn't have a practical answer for you on how the military would, how collective self-defense would work absent government. Even if I said I don't have any idea, I don't have an answer, would you then force me to fund your conception of collective defense, or would you leave me alone? HBO Matt, you're an anarchist. Welcome to the club. Now let's talk about practicalities.
Dirt, like iron, dirt mix and stuff. Maybe 25-pound bag.
I have pushed my girlfriend to abort our first child 50 years ago, and I have never quite gotten over that. I have been forgiven. Yes, absolutely. But there is still a residual sadness that goes on even now as I'm approaching 70 years old. My first child, I was the champion of her death.
Go and log back in.
To speak against it, to help to co-found a pregnancy care center in Edmonton, Canada here, that has helped literally thousands of women make life-affirming positive choices, not only for their children, but for themselves. And that I only wish had been available to me back in 1972.
Welcome in, Mark Davis. Pickup.
All right, click on e-documents.
Oh, crap! The government wasn't lying and using aliens and UFOs just as a convenient psyop distraction. They're actually here. Ah! Welcome back, people, and amazing human beings. My name's inDOCtriNATION here. We are change.org, and there's a plethora of absolutely wild and crazy news to get into, especially here domestically inside of the United States. Such crazy news that you pretty much just left having to laugh at it because, you know, crying, there's only so many tissues in the world. But hey, at least there's a lot to laugh at, especially when it comes to the very detrimental situation happening right now to Canada and the people up there in the north, especially with what just South Park did to them. We're going to be talking about that plus a lot more. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on thebestpoliticalshirts.com. And the clip that we played in the beginning of this broadcast was originally shared by @endwokeness on Twitter, showing a real life inclusive modeling show. And again, you know, each his own. Everyone has their own preferences here, but I
Where it says other name and apartment number, put N/A.
for
For
intergalactic
some reason, those points
beings.
have
I
to be filled.
apologize, big YouTube overlords. I'm so sorry. Sorry. Well, nah. This as we have to shout out the Babylon Bee that truly is just knocking it out of their park, especially with their latest headline satirical story that reads, quote, inspiring. Corporations celebrate LGBTQ pride with rainbow-colored river, specifically showing a picture of the waterways in East Palestine, Ohio, where the government there is telling everyone that the air is definitely safe to breathe and the water is definitely very safe to drink. Yeah, if this doesn't look safe to you, I don't know what does. And it's very progressive, just as progressive as all the roads and cars that are allegedly being filmed in Ontario, Canada, showing also this very proud, bold, and brave highlighting of their pride for this gender equity and diverse movement that they even painted all the roads with. Oh, wait. Let's
shift for the.
Well, this is allegedly video of what people are calling the aftermath of a major snowstorm that melted. Now, for me, just looking at this, it looks like maybe someone had a gas spill. Again, we're still waiting to find out exactly what's going on here. This is, by and large, the federal government here, let's just be honest here, has been acting really shady, especially when it comes to this larger situation. But hey, at least we get to laugh at this and at least have some memes for now. This, as we have to shout out some of the biggest cultural warriors out there, and that, of course, is South Park, a TV show that has been attempted to be canceled many times over for their absolutely hilarious no-holds-bar comedy that goes after and attacks everyone. Listen, you like them or not, you might think they're crass, but I think they're doing more for the culture than almost anyone else in the space right now, especially when it comes to highlighting some of the modern-day hypocrisies in our society. And their latest episode, specifically about Meghan Markle and Harry, is absolutely comedic genius that deserves to
For some reason, it didn't take your
All
birthday.
of this is the corporate media loves to
Just if you
regurgitate,
type it, it's
celebrate,
easier.
and promote and push and worship at the altar of Harry and Meghan, and South Park just obliterated a
Just tab off of it once you're
multi-million-dollar
done typing
marketing deal with fart jokes and cheap cartoons. Shouts out to them, and truly incredible work.
Yeah.
This
And then you
is,
just
they
hit tab.
probably have a lot to work with now,
There you
as
go.
of course there's a lot of hypocrisy everywhere. As the transportation of secretary is now blaming the former president of the United States for the current Ohio train disaster that happened under his watch. This as the former president of the United States,
And then, yeah, in the gray box, just
using
check the first
schoolyard
one. There you
insults
go.
against the
Yep.
governor of Florida, calling him Meatball
Pretty good.
Ron. And yeah, for some reason, that's important to get into when, of course, this country's being destroyed and gutted from the inside. The United States is literally a sinking ship with robber barons taking everything for themselves. But hey, there's Meatball Ron over there. He's a really bad guy, and we should be focusing all of our energy and attention towards bringing him down. Yeah, I think he lost the plot, just like the United States government that just spent nearly $380,000 on shooting down a $12 school balloon project. This, as almost everything on our national media, is just paid fluff, hypocrisy, bullcrap, and lies, as they keep doing the bidding for a small group of egotistical, sociopathic, insane human beings that are trying to inject you with mysterious substances. And hey, this is why, if you haven't fallen for the propaganda, that's why I created I'm the Real OG.com. Yes, that is an actual website. Yes, it is true, where you can get your own certificate. My certificate came in the mail. It is right here. Let me grab it because it is absolutely incredible. The quality, the detail here of the certificate of recognition here. We got a engraving stamp, we got a sticker, we got a signature. We have customized diplomas with your name on it, recognizing how much of an OG you are for not falling for a multi-billion-dollar psychological operation. This right here.
If it's just you, I wouldn't claim anything because it'll automatically do just you for federal.
Industry, and it is absolutely glorious, and you could get
I get it.
your
I mean, it's
name on it,
whatever you put is what you put.
specifically
And it's,
on imtherealog.com. Again, I'm very proud of this.
if you don't think they're taking enough, or if you think taking too much, we can always adjust it.
Brilliant one, and I think we need to, of course, highlight more of our successes, more of our victories, more of our wins. Have a little bit of humor, have a little bit of satire. Don't take yourself seriously, and this is why I created this official certificate of recognition. I mean, look at that. We even have. I mean, look at the details here. I mean, it's a little blurry here, but look at that.
Choice.
Incredible stuff. Get yours while supplies last.
With that, you can't have anything above. So yeah, you should be good. And then just sign it in step 5.
Below is, of course, we're expanding our T-shirt empire on thebestpoliticalshirts.com and launching a whole bunch of new incredible shirts. This is the new shirt that we just released, by the way, this week, with a bunch of soy boys there saying that UFOs are the next psyops. And with the way things are going, that's probably true. We're going to be launching new T-shirts this week as well, and we have a lot of really incredible, amazing things coming your way through our ever.
The rest of that's just a worksheet. It doesn't do anything.
On thebestpoliticalshirts.com. See you there right after this broadcast, as of course we are not done here, and we're going to jump into our main topic, and that is the Canadian government investigating itself and finding itself totally not guilty for, of course, stealing people's monies, bank accounts, and throwing people in jail for daring to express political opinions. I kid you not. There was an investigation that was looking into the use of the Emergencies Act by the Justin Trudeau administration, and an administration and parliament that Klaus Schwab previously bragged about infiltrating more than half of. This is relevant.
You got to pick something though.
Just a little bit, but
either
it is appalling.
exempt there or claim yourself.
The Justice of the Court of Appeals for Ontario, Canada, that was the head of this very similar 9/11 commission looking into the actions of the government in Canada, specifically looking at their very inhumane, human rights violating, and absolutely outside of the law maneuvers when it came to, of course, arresting, detaining, stealing people's bank accounts, getting rid of their ability to even transact for daring to express political opinions during the Freedom Convoy. Now, if you remember, we covered the Freedom Convoy very extensively as it was representing.
All right, let me pull up what we're going to need.
Uprising of individuals
you decide which,
comprised of all different
backgrounds,
of all different political beliefs and ideas that coalesced and said, hey, it's not okay to lock us down, destroy our businesses, and then to manipulatively try to exploit us to take
Crap Road,
that there
right
were
off the Telegraph.
Studies on.
Like,
the movement represented a bunch of individuals, usually from the country, that sent in trucks and then sat in their trucks, honked their horns, which I think was the thing that they were most peeved about, while, of course, having celebrations, bouncy house castle rides, and peaceful demonstrations, essentially going to the government saying, hey, please stop destroying my ability to live a life. And this was a massive protest that, of course, resonated with a majority of people out there that, of course, were sick of the federal government intervening in their lives, telling them what they can do and cannot do. All of this now we know in hindsight was actually wrong moves that actually made the situation that much worse than actually it would have been if there wasn't any direct government intervention. And what the trucker convoy, or the Freedom Convoy as they were also calling themselves, was asking for was something that the government did eventually and said, yeah, we were actually wrong about it the whole time. But initially, what happened in response to this protest was a coordinated media marketing spin of it, as somehow that it was related to racism when it wasn't, that somehow it was related only to right-wing ideologues when it wasn't. And when the smear campaign didn't work and more people started to come out and demand their freedom, the Canadian federal government crushed protests there in many ways that we see foreign despots and dictatorships do. They not only arrested truckers, took away their trucks, they also arrested thought leaders, people who were organizing the protests, people who expressed opinions online, sent them away to jail, while also in some instances confiscating their bank accounts and preventing people from donating to them, while punishing people proactively for donating, specifically sending out a chilling effect that if you donated to a legal cause, you were threatened with your ability to bank be shut down. A clear violation of human rights, something that was an overreach of power that wasn't justified at all. These were, again, peaceful protests. And now here we have the cover-up of all of this, a 2,000-page report by the government investigating the government, finding the government did nothing wrong. This, as this quote report and quote alleged investigation, also has 56 recommendations and essentially is a larger whitewash of exactly what happened here, with Justin Trudeau coming out after this contrived report and patting himself on the back, saying that, of course, he met the very, quote, very high threshold for using an Emergencies Act. This bureaucratic Becky politician in Canada, who's related to, of course, Germans during the conflict in 1939, also came out and said freezing people's bank accounts was a powerful tool to discourage the participation of protest. And gee, you think so? And of course, now there's headlines everywhere saying that the Canadian government was justified in violating human rights by all the same corporate media institutions that, of course, attacked these protesters based on no merits at all. Jordan Peterson had a very interesting response to all of this, saying, quote, now that it appears very clear that the judiciary in Canada is now as compromised as the government itself. This, as other online commentators like Viva Frey said, that this means Canada is over. Canada is dead, with Jordan Peterson even previously remarking that, quote, maybe it's time for another convoy, 10 times as big, and not just truckers this time, which, of course, represented the larger sentiment against Canadians who saw really awful things done in their country, who went through a chilling effect, a prosecution, all based on money and power-hungry individuals that, of course, squashed legitimate political discourse in their country in order to preserve their seat at the table. This from a government that Klaus Schwab literally said himself he has infiltrated more than half of. And let's be honest here, it's pretty clear, I think, in my own assessment here, in my own opinion, that they've been acting on his behests, not just crushing legitimate protests against Orwellian, draconian health mandates, but specifically, in many instances, even denying care to a lot of individuals, while, of course, telling them that they could only assist in their deaths. Need a mobility scooter in Canada? Well, too bad. You probably have to wait a very long time, or the government's just going to tell you to off yourself, which they've been doing in record numbers, while, of course, they're also busy for arresting fathers of children who misgender them. This is a country that has been hijacked. It has been taken over. We have seen the worst of worst elements of humanity during a time of crisis be exploited for the personal benefit of a few autocrats.
I'm trying to find. She just sent an email last week with the updates for all this stuff, so I'm trying to give you the most up-to-date information.
Pat themselves on the back. Let's not forget how absolutely horrible and full of crap they are. And hey, that's just my perspective. That's just my opinion. If you think I'm wrong, let me know why.
Okay, forklift drivers, it's
in the comment section below.
So, and it's the C crew.
Input. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively watching, sharing these videos, getting the diplomas, getting the shirts, and because you do, this is why I'm here, and this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more. Change.org.
C crew is the swing shift hours, yes. It's 5 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. Monday and Tuesday, but then Friday and Saturday it's 5:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. So you have your nights off on the weekends.
Hey everybody, I can only need you guys.
It's cool, only 4 days.
Great, beautiful, beautiful morning. Sun just.
What do you know about aliens and UFOs? I've never been thinking about them more now that they fit into the look over there category. UFO sightings are everywhere. Maybe we should talk about that now, as it seems to be what we're instructed to do. I concur.
C crew.
Do you know what's weird about aliens? The lack of genitals? No. I mean,
$15.70
But
plus
also, back when the government denied alien
$15 perfect
existence,
attendance.
If you did believe in aliens, you were considered a mindless nut job. Complete mindless nut
So
job.
it's 16,
And now that the
17,
government
20.
is constantly teasing us with alien existence, you're
That's the
considered
start.
a mindless nut job if you don't believe in it.
Yeah.
Complete mindless nut jobs. And those same people used to say that the government denying alien existence was evidence that they do exist. Like defiant children. And now those same people saying that the government suggesting aliens are out there is evidence that
Well,
aliens don't
that's about all we're going to need then. I'm going to go ahead and submit it. Now, what will happen is they'll probably set you up for an interview Wednesday at 3 p.m. We'll be on site there at the location, and I'll give you the info for the address and stuff once I get a confirmation from them.
is telling us
I'll give you that. Be there at 3 o'clock. Do the interview. Right after the interview, as long as it went well, they're gonna contact me and come back the next day for orientation.
Beautiful and amazing.
Now the orientation is paid, so you'll do like sometimes they have you come in at 8, sometimes it's later, but usually it's around 8 o'clock for the orientation training part, and then you'll swing over to your shift after training.
To Ukraine.
All
What's
right.
going on here? What are some of the larger consequences and details here? And of course, the very war.
Wait for me to tell you to go to interview. Interview should be Wednesday. Yeah, interview should be Wednesday. But I'm going to submit your info now, just so I don't forget. And so our next goal is Wednesday at 3 p.m. At the location in Temperance for interview. No, this week.
Things to discuss. If you like the shirt that I'm wearing, you can get it on.
Today's the cutoff to send names, so I'm gonna go ahead and get your name sent. And as long as that goes well, we'll do the interview, and then I haven't yet to have them reject anyone. As long as you show up on time, usually you haven't worked there before. So I've had a couple people tell me that they had when they got. No, that's fine. Okay. I've never had an issue with you, man. I've never had an issue with you. All right, man. Appreciate you, sir. I'll reach out to you. So the phone number you have in this, you just put in the system is your latest
video detailing a psyop within a psyop is absolutely brilliant, especially with all the ways that very
5838. Okay, got it.
Have us second questioning and guessing
No
ourselves
problem, brother.
while they have their way with
Yeah,
us.
you too.
So yeah. Also, we need more comedy in this world, especially comedy from South.
Sorry, guys. I
Looks
was
like they potentially
super
might be
distracted,
getting
obviously,
sued.
during that game, and I was literally calling stuff I normally wouldn't have called. That all in, I probably wouldn't have called, but yeah. Well, some people have to. That's what's odd. I mean, he's the leader of the World Economic Forum. I mean, unless he's just paying to be in that position. Joe, have you left us?
After demonstrating a brilliant portrayal of Harry and Meghan Merkel during their previous episode, which, according to the Daily Mail, there are now claims being made that lawyers are being looked into to take down this extremely brilliant and definitely worth watching episode of South Park that absolutely doesn't hold back on their criticisms. And again, I shouted them out in the last episode, and they truly do deserve a lot more respect than they actually are getting. This as they expose a lot of the phonies in our society, and there's a lot of them, including high-level, highly promoted in the algorithm, democratically backed and supported influencers like Brooklyn Dad, that now, according to the latest revelations, was being paid tens of thousands of dollars by a pro-Biden super PAC while he was launching attacks on individuals like Bernie Sanders, doing the shilling for Big Pharma, and essentially being a so-called influencer for the Biden administration and promoting every single one of their policies without even daring to question it. This, as a lot of people in the social media sphere were kind of asking themselves, how is this guy getting so many retweets? How many views with such horrible takes? Well, there was a big Democratic political machine behind him and a super PAC that probably played a major role here. All of this as his fellow Democratic Biden 11 co-patriot Don Lemon is now also in hot water. This as today CNN is denying that Don Lemon has been benched and that he is not axed from his morning show after being demoted from, of course, his prime time show. This is Don Lemon is in some hot water after saying that, quote, Nikki Haley is past her prime, which really pissed off Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins there. Older women themselves that weren't too pleased with the Don Lemon spicy take on Nikki Haley running for the presidency of the United States. This, as CNN ratings have been absolutely in the gutter, continuing to go down dramatically as they are having a very hard time getting off of their Trump derangement syndrome. All of this as Tucker Carlson is getting a huge surge of viewers, which is about to be expected to go up dramatically. This, as Axios is reporting today, that the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, has just given Tucker Carlson access to 41,000 hours of Capitol surveillance footage from January 6th.
Damn.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Tucker Carlson, according to Axios right now, has in his possession the full tapes of exactly what happened on January 6th. No spin, no suggestive editing. He has 41,000 hours of videotapes, which probably him and his team at Fox News are going through right now and probably will be reporting on the findings as they come out. Now, 41,000 hours is a lot of hours. What is this footage going to reveal? What are we going to find out because of it? Well, I think probably a little different version of events than we were officially told by the government and corporate
where'd
media.
everybody
But
go?
that's just my 2 cents here about my opinion here. And I
Got
say
down to
that
almost
because most
no
things
viewers,
in our
and then it's
society
jumped back
are
up.
wrong. And this is why I created LukeUnfiltered.com, our own website where you get to sign up, become a member, and not only get access to 3 master classes, exclusive merchandise only available to you, a brand new video almost every single day that is unfiltered, uncensored, but also access to our forum, which I am most proud about since we're having some really awesome, incredible conversations with you guys. As the last video we did, we talked about specifically dating in this kind of crazy world, all based on a question that you guys asked me through our forum as we are continuing to go through our AMA. As of course, we have a lot of members. We have a lot of really incredible, smart individuals that have signed up and have become a member of our quasi-private, not so private, secret, not so secret society, where we talk about being the best, strongest, most incredible version of ourselves. Lots of feedback, lots of audience participation. This is incredible. And if you haven't signed up yet, what are you waiting for? Signing up and being a part of this video. So if you haven't signed up yet, all of this is, of course, we have to talk about our main story, and that, of course, is Joe Biden's trip to Europe, which Politico was building up a few days ago with their headline article.
Here's the deal. Just released the
One of
body
the
cams from when
decisive moments
that
of his
journalist that got
presidency,
arrested.
Biden heads to a
at the
troubled Europe.
train
This, as many
spill.
people were speculating if the president of the United States
I'm
was
sure
going to
that-
be visiting Ukraine, and yes, he actually did. A trip that, of course, a lot of people are talking about right now, as of course there are a lot
Right
of
back.
geopolitical ramifications to this, including, of course, not only the prolongment of this larger proxy conflict, but of course the emboldenment of Ukraine that has been armed by the United States and fighting this larger proxy conflict. This, as the security chief of Kiev came out just moments ago and said, quote, "Our tanks will be parked on Moscow's Red Square, and that will be justice." This, as of course, he's also vowing to expel all Russian troops from Ukrainian soil, as he went on and compared the current president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, to, of course, the leader of Germany during the conflict in 1939. This, as many Ukrainian officials are also warning that the bloodiest battles are yet to come. This, as in large part, the conflict has mainly been a stalemate between these two larger superpowers and the forces that they have amassed against each other in the territory of Ukraine. Now, the meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky and Joe Biden wasn't the only eye-catching meeting for me personally today, as of course it's also important to note that today, during these meetings as well, former U.S. ambassador and, of course, chief neoconservative warmonger and overall just really awful human being John Bolton also met with Boris Johnson, the former Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the same Prime Minister that directly intervened, flew to Ukraine, and made sure that peace talks were prevented and this war was prolonged. This, as we're also learning today, that the White House did warn Russia and the president of that country that Joe Biden was making a visit to Kiev, specifically reaching out to Moscow's hours before this visit. This as this trip was left secret to everyone but to the Russian government and Ukrainian government. This as some people are criticizing the president of the United States, saying, hey, there's some people in Ohio, there's some of your constituents that could use your help too. This as Biden has announced another additional $500 million in aid to Ukraine, a country and government that is known for, of course, having a lot of corrupt bureaucrats that usually take the money for themselves. This as the president of Ukraine today is also warning about the dangers of China while visiting with the president of the United States, specifically warning of a new axis of evil, which he describes between China and Russia, which would, quote, spark World War III. This, as some legal analysts and political scholars are already arguing that we are already in World War III, and many people don't even realize it, and I think they make very compelling arguments. This as China today is denying claims that they're considering giving, of course, weapons, munitions, and ammunition to Russia. This says it's also important to note here that China and Russia have had extensive military ties before, and many times political agreement with each other when it came to, of course, questioning and pushing back against U.S. military foreign policy doctrine. This says it's also important to note here that China also has a lot of extensive trade ties to Ukraine, a lot of contracts there that looks like BlackRock is going to be taken over, which China's probably going to be really pissed about. This says China is flying balloons over the United States.
Yeah, that one is.
Green laser beams over Hawaii, and now has also announced successfully that they have tested a new space strike weapon, which could, quote, overwhelm an enemy's missile defense system ahead of a nuclear attack. So yeah, all reassuring news. This as Russia has even publicly bragged about a large-scale exercise that they conducted of their strategic nuclear forces. This as Russian politicians and media figures are also now accusing Kiev of, quote, planning to stage a nuclear incident. They said this before, they're saying this again. Could this be the precursor of a nuclear war, a limited nuclear bomb strike inside of Ukraine, the escalating of tensions, the bringing of the world into global chaos? Well, what do you think? And what do you think of Biden's trip? Is it bold? Is it courageous? Or do you agree with the sentiment of many Republicans saying, hey, you should be in Ohio helping the people there and not just giving a blank check to continuing a proxy war that endangers the livelihood of everyone on the face of this earth? What do you think it is? Especially if you disagree with some of the things I mentioned here. I would love to hear from you down in the comment section below. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively watching and sharing these videos, and this is why. Love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on wearechange.org. One more video coming your way right now on LukeUncensored.com. See you then.
So here's the deal. Just shared this. I've been actually waiting for this to come out. It's the body cam. The cops that took down that reporter. He spent the night in jail, even though the governor right there afterwards said there's no reason he should have been arrested.
I am allowed to be here. Go now, or you can go to jail. Sir, you want to go to jail for criminal trespassing? You want to go to jail for criminal trespassing? I'm going to listen. I don't care. You're going to walk out the door. I'm going to listen. Jail. Do not touch me. This is covered by the First Amendment. Let's go. Come on, out. Out. I want you to walk out. Oh, sir.
Welcome back to the Here's the Deal channel, fellow perpetrators. We now have the Ohio State Highway Patrol body
this is going to make me angry.
Of
this is going to make me so angry.
Evan Lambert being taken to the ground because he dared to be in this gymnasium with other quote-unquote journalists in corporate media trying to cover a story about that train derailment that happened in Ohio. and they were trying to listen to what Governor Mike DeWine said. But here it is right here. I'm going to go ahead and roll this. The first 30 seconds is silent, of course, until the body cam audio kicks in. But I would really like to know with this officer, let's see, does he have stripes on him? He has some kind of this bald-headed guy with the fatigues on, the Army fatigues.
He's a general.
He starts getting really, it looks like he gets belligerent with this Lambert guy. He starts pushing him. It looks like he lays his hand on him. One of the troopers has to get in between him and Lambert. Look at this. He's got his hand on his chest, being belligerent.
Yes, you want me to file charges on you right now? I am allowed to.
And again, what's interesting, look in the upper right hand right there. It says, be safe, be kind. How about be a serf and be compliant? That's really how the law enforcement agents are acting here. Be a serf, be compliant, do what we say, leave the building. We know that you're here doing journalism, but we don't want you to be here.
Did you not see that man? You were told to shut it down. You continued on. Go. Now. Go. Now. Or you can go to jail. Sir. You want to go to jail for criminal trespassing? You want to go to jail for criminal trespassing? Do you understand how quickly our lawyers will get me out? I don't care. Sir, can we I don't care. Just talk outside. Go. Just talk outside. Come outside. Out the doors by other media right here. I'm going to listen. I don't care. You're going to walk out the door. I'm going to listen. You're going to walk out the door. Touch mine out, sir. You're going to walk out the door, or you're going to jail. Do not touch me. Sir, can we talk outside, please? I'm trying to listen. Outside, please. And he escalated with me. I am doing my job. This is covered by the First Amendment. Excuse me, sir. I'm the building supervisor here. Please leave. There you have it. You're going to stand outside. You are. Or you're going to jail. Let's go. Let's go.
There we go. There we go. The state answer to any problem is violence.
Oh, sir.
You guys, this is bad. Stop.
I am on the ground. What are you trying to do? Okay,
Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Oh my God. Stop. You want to get this. This is so bad.
Lay on your back.
Lay flat, please. You guys, he's a national correspondent. You cannot do this.
See, it doesn't matter that he's a national correspondent. It doesn't matter if he works for News Nation. It doesn't matter if he works for CNN or.
Doesn't matter if he's got a cell phone up.
Individual who has a camera, who has a right to be there because it's a public interest story and he's there for the public. And these public servants have no right to lay their hands on somebody who's there to exercise their First Amendment rights, period.
News Nation, it's all being recorded right now.
I hope it is. This is
Excessive
horrible.
force, because you can't talk to people about doing their jobs.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this. This is horrible.
This is what it's like to be a black reporter in
Evan, I'm
2023.
so sorry. Evan, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Sia.
Pull over, sir.
And not one cop is there again. Not one cop is on the scene because we always hear
Yeah.
about the good cops. There's so many good cops.
I haven't
There's just a
posted
few bad
Instagram in
apples
years.
Spoiling the whole bunch, but there's all these good cops. No good cop around to say, hold on a second. Why are we removing him from the building? Why did you go hands-on? Why did you put him on the ground? Why are you restricting his freedom of speech? I got to know because I'm not an order follower. I'm going to ask questions, but you can't do that because you got to be an order follower because that's what that job necessitates. That's what that profession is all about. You just go along to get along, and then there's this mentality, and when they get together, you're really in trouble.
Get up on your butt. Can you please loosen this?
We will as soon as you stand up.
That one is a little tight, so we are.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much.
This is horrible.
Can someone help me?
Yeah, Evan, I'm sorry. Oh my God. This is horrible.
We have anyone out here. You got to record all that. I did, sir. You want me to shut off? No, you can keep recording. Okay. We just need to make sure that.
Do you want me to shut it off? They should never, ever be allowed to shut it off. As a matter of fact, there shouldn't even be a shut off button. As soon as they take it off the charger, it should run continuously. They shouldn't be able to turn off the audio. They shouldn't be able to turn off the video. They shouldn't be able to redact it in post-production. If it's a body cam and it's on a law enforcer, that thing should run until that guy is done at the end of his shift, going back to recharge it and upload whatever information that he recorded that night.
No one else comes in here that's not authorized to come in here. So, okay.
Well, sir, I'm posted at the end of the gym there.
Okay. Like for folks coming in?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just stay here for right now.
Okay.
You'll have the security. So.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Thank you.
What's that?
Are you coming in for?
Yeah. Press, I'm live right now on TikTok as covering the governor.
Okay.
Thank you.
He can come in, but the other guy can't.
Oh, who's this is?
Recording.
Am I?
Come on. No worries.
Oh, he just warned his fellow officer, "Hey, I'm recording. Don't do anything weird. Don't don't say something that might be a little off color that we might get scrutinized. Don't forget, we're recording. Watch your P's and Q's." No guns allowed. It's a Constitution-free zone right there. No guns allowed unless you're law enforcement. There's no guns allowed. So in that place, there's not a First Amendment right for certain people. There's not a right to keep and bear arms. And the law enforcers will make sure that they uphold those unconstitutional laws. I haven't seen this yet, so I don't know what's going on next. Looks like he turned it off and turned it back on because there's no audio. Should not be allowed to turn it off and turn it back on. The public should have every piece of information that's recorded on that device. The public will edit it if the public wants to edit it. Because usually they'll edit out the things that we need to see because it makes them look better when it shouldn't. Darn, I wish we could hear what he's saying. Come on. What the heck is he saying? We need audio. Man, usually it kicks on by now. He's got his audio off.
Fire alarm was going off here. But yeah, I'm frustrated. I've been talking shit.
So News Now Nation or News Nation recorder. Here we go.
Disrespect or anything. We've been waiting for. We were up there. We had a live shot scheduled to record at 5:15. That's locked in stone. So, coincidence of all coincidence, the governor literally walks out at 5:15. It's the worst possible time in the world, okay? But there's nothing that we can do about that. He's committed to doing his live shot. He's got people talking to him. He doesn't know whether he needs to talk about.
Let me stop you.
Yeah,
but let me please go ahead. Let me stop you. I'm so. The reason why I understand that. The reason why he is where he is. He was told to leave. He refused to leave. Okay. Then the building superintendent comes over and says, "I don't want you here."
It's a public building.
He still refused to leave. So now he's arrested. I didn't witness any.
The cop should have said, if the building superintendent, why do you want him to leave, but you don't want them to leave over there? That's what the cop should have said. If they're going to be honest mediators, which they're not, but if they were going to pretend to be honest mediators, they would ask the building superintendent, why do you want him to leave? What did he do? Why is he being trespassed? What thing did he do wrong that causes you to want to get him out of this building? Because if he didn't do anything wrong, we're not removing him. Because if we have to remove him for doing what he's doing, then we have to remove them for doing what they're doing. But cops aren't fair.
his own fault he's arrested.
They're
All
not
he had to
present.
do was type up.
I didn't.
And he just kept on arguing.
All I'm telling you is from the television standpoint.
I understand what
It's
you're
just-
trying to do.
it's
I understand
television.
you guys have stuff to do, but when he's told to leave by law enforcement, he does not.
I can't speak to that.
That's an issue.
What I
Just because law enforcement tells you to leave doesn't mean you have to leave. I mean, what are they going to tell you to leave because, hey, you don't weigh enough, or you're the wrong color, or we don't like your shirt? I mean, where sky's the limit? When they start coming up with these arbitrary rules, the only way a person who's supposed to be in the capacity of a public servant
There's the
should
Democratic
be
Party anymore.
empowered to tell you to leave is if
sorry.
you've done something
It's not
wrong,
just
if
the
you've
Democratic
bothered
Party.
somebody, if you've threatened somebody, if you've stolen something, if you've damaged somebody's property. and
Republican
refused to pay
governor.
for it. Otherwise, why are you telling this guy to leave, but you're not telling
Red
anybody else
state.
to leave? There's no equity in that.
I thought I might just be able to give you some insight.
Sheriff
on-
who's supposed to uphold the
No, I
Constitution.
understand you guys.
He's a
have
sheriff
problems.
deputy.
It's just.
I get it, but when you're told to step out, and it even gets to the point where the building superintendent's coming over and saying, you need to leave.
I understand.
What if the building
know.
superintendent said, hey, you law enforcers, we don't want you law enforcers here. You guys need to leave. Bet they wouldn't leave. Oh, you governor, you need to leave. You know, the people who really need to be there are the people who are actually exercising the right to freedom of press so that they can get out the truth, or what they perceive as truth, to the general public who's concerned about all these toxins being spewed into the Ohio air because of that train derailment.
So, that's why you tell me where he is.
He'll end up at the Columbia County.
Columbia County Jail.
Yes, okay.
Sir, what's your name?
Sheriff Brian McLaughlin.
Sheriff.
That's the sheriff.
I'm Preston
See?
Swire. Okay. Thank you, Sheriff.
Fuck him. Shake his hand. The piece of shit.
I got a real issue with the inequity of this whole thing, and I got a real issue with, I mean, be safe and be kind. Be a serf and comply. And over here it says, be responsible. Be responsible. Be reasonable. The very things that the cops showed themselves not to be in this right here. The very thing that the school superintendent showed himself not to be. Nobody's asking any questions. Nobody has dusted off their critical thinking to find out what in the heck is going on here, because it sure looks like you violated a man's right to exercise his right to freedom of press. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global
They won't
thought
fight
in the
it, though.
comment
That's
section.
what
Let's have
sucks.
something more to add to this. You know, put it in the
They won't fight
comments
it.
section. Share this video, like this video. If you want to support this channel, grab a
Sharing
hard-hitting
it.
conversation starting design
And
from
we
the
liked
store.
it.
You can put it on any shirt, hoodie, mug, whatever you want. This is our new
Like
design
Freeman
right
just
here.
came out with
It's
one.
I'm
Where's
American.
Sam
I have
Stewie?
rights. I have the right to bear arms. Your approval is not required. I will see you guys in the next video.
Where you at, Sam?
Enforce any mask mandate in the courtroom or anywhere else. Just so you know.
I appreciate that, Sheriff.
Let me just say this, we're not gonna enforce any mask mandate in the courtroom or anywhere else. Okay? Just so you know.
I appreciate that, Sheriff.
So we got a call from the courthouse saying send help.
Urgent response. We didn't know if it was an active shooter or what, so we went in.
You came prepared for an active shooter? Like for real?
They didn't tell us anything other than get here as fast as we can.
The way they dispatched it. Yeah.
Just did it right. Did it. Told the secretary, "Get me help now," and then escalated when it got the dispatch. Well, by the time we got it, like, "Oh, hell was breaking loose." That's like.
So you came code 3?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right.
Hey, good to see you.
All right. You too, guys.
There was a gentleman who came in my courtroom and he refused to mask up.
Uh-huh.
So you didn't ask for them to arrest
No,
me
sir.
or bring me back for contempt
didn't.
hearing?
No.
I feel the need to preface this story by telling you that the 7th Judicial District Court is in Torrance County, but that the county has absolutely no control over the court. They are completely separate entities. While the court has been absolutely horrible, Torrance County has been wonderful for me to work with over the years and makes an incredible effort to respect individual liberty. Like you and I, they're not perfect, but Torrance County management makes an incredible effort to immediately fix problems when they're brought to their attention,
Good thing it was a quickly thinking deputy.
Multiple deputies and the elected sheriff himself have made an effort to stick their necks out to stand for the people of this county and do what's right, potentially upsetting the establishment and even risking their own livelihood by not playing along. On January 27th, 2023, I was running some errands and drove past the 7th Judicial Court in Torrance County, which shares a building with the Torrance County Sheriff's Office. The parking lot here is usually pretty empty, but on this day there were a lot of cars there, so I stopped by to see what government was doing. When I entered the building, I found that court was in session.
Did I not drop the?
All court hearings and trials are public.
No, I didn't.
Any member of the public
Yeah,
can
I did.
attend and observe any public hearing or trial at any time. This
Like
is an
this shit,
important part of a free society. It makes it so that the courts can't operate in secret, which is supposed to help keep them accountable. While I attended quite a few court hearings via Zoom during the scamdemic, I hadn't attended any in person since before the scamdemic began, so I thought it'd be interesting to just sit in on this hearing. I made absolutely no attempt to record the hearing simply because I know that they often get crazy over that, even though they shouldn't, and I was just trying to walk around and observe some things, not make a video. My phone was silenced and in my pocket so as not to disrupt the hearing. As soon as I entered the courtroom, I was addressed by a man later identified as Gordon Bennett, a hearing officer. He asked who I was. I told him I'm a member of the public just here to observe the public hearing. He told me that I have to wear a mask. I was genuinely quite shocked and even speechless, didn't know how to respond. Mind you, this is 2023. Long after the scamdemic has been declared to have been ended by every single expert and official worldwide. I told him,
I don't even think he's here anymore.
Back here to quietly observe and took my seat in the back corner. He continued barking at me to wear a muzzle. I quickly realized that this unstable man wasn't going to give up the issue and believed that he may even lie about the events that actually transpired to try to have me thrown in jail. At this point, in order to make sure that there would be an accurate record of the truth, I took my phone out from my pocket and began recording our interaction.
So if you're not gonna mask up, you can leave my courtroom. If you wanna stay in my courtroom, you can mask up.
I'm 30 feet away from everybody.
Sir?
What's your name? What is it? I can't see it from here.
My name is Gordon Bennett. I'm the hearing officer in this matter, and this is my court.
Okay, well, I'll just sit here quietly. Please proceed.
No. You can leave my courtroom.
Or what?
I will have you escorted out.
By who?
We are off the record.
Hearing officer Gordon Bennett left the courtroom to tell his court staff to call for immediate police assistance, but refused to tell them exactly why, just that it was urgent.
Torrance County Dispatch.
Hi, this is Rayleigh District Court. We have our hearing officer with a domestic violence hearing, and he's requesting police in the courtroom immediately.
Is it a disturbance?
I don't know. He didn't specify. He just wanted SO in the courtroom immediately or as soon as possible.
Okay, I'll go ahead and send them that way.
Alrighty, thank you.
Is this a good callback number?
Yes,
Okay.
384.
Perfect. I'll have them on the way shortly.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. Bye-bye.
Torrance County Dispatch.
Hey, it's Stephanie. What are you doing?
What are you doing, Miss Steph?
Oh, you know. Hey, can you get an officer to district court for courtroom 2? They need security ASAP.
Okay, I think someone just called in. Is that for courtroom 2 security? Yeah. Any
Okay.
idea what's going on?
No idea. Gordon said, how fast can you get me a cop? I need them now.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, my dear.
Bye.
What's your name?
I didn't give it, I'm sorry. Just trying to spectate the public hearing, nothing more, nothing less.
I can appreciate your wish to spectate. I can appreciate this is a public hearing. You're not gonna violate the rules of the court.
Which rules are those?
Put a mask.
Oh, you want me to put a mask on? Tell you what, if you threaten me with arrest, I'll just leave.
I'm not threatening anything. I'm telling you that if you do not abide by the rules of my courtroom, you will leave. If you choose not to leave of your own accord, you will be escorted.
Would I be arrested or charged with anything?
Well, you continue this, and I may charge you. Yeah.
Okay, so there's a threat of arrest then if I don't do what you say right now?
You just have to have your phone out and recording this.
I mean, if there's a threat of arrest, I'll just leave.
Are you recording this conversation?
The court is. There's a camera there
You're right, the court is.
and there.
By statute and rule, I am allowed and required to record.
Hey, Aglos.
So by statute.
I'll tell you what, son, I'll just get a bigger team and we'll come back, sweetheart. All right? We'll be back.
I headed over to the sheriff's office to talk to newly elected David Frazee to ask if him or his department would be enforcing this mask mandate. At the time, I had no idea that 3 units had already been dispatched to the courthouse and were on their way code 3 lights and sirens. Due to the way that the call was put out, intentionally vague, and then dispatched, the responding officers believed that they were likely responding to some type of active shooter or hostage situation.
Is the sheriff here? Okay, or any of the deputies, honestly. What's that? James Freeman.
Sheriff David Frazee immediately invited me back to his office to chat. He didn't mind if I recorded the conversation, but I did turn the camera off anyways. I asked him if he would enforce the mask mandate. He said absolutely not. I asked what he would do if they called in the state police to enforce it. He said hopefully it wouldn't come to that, but they would have to look into kicking the state police out of the county if that happened. Meanwhile, outside, his deputies were entering the building, believing that they were walking into a dangerous and violent situation.
I love that they turn these cameras, these body cams over right away, the same day.
Should I get the shield? You never know, yeah, dude.
He's got his gun drawn.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. They need to tell us something. Two.
Been waiting for these cameras.
You guys good?
Yeah. Yeah, Sam Sui. He doesn't get any of his own content. This is Freeman's video.
This is Erica Smith. She works for the court and she knows exactly what's going on. But instead of informing the deputies, she allows them to go into the courtroom with guns drawn into what they believe may be a potential hostage situation.
You good?
Obviously, we got a call.
Yeah, you bet. Sorry, I didn't mean to take over your courtroom, but
There was a gentleman who came into my courtroom and refused to mask up.
okay,
And started recording me in the courtroom.
okay.
He started basically
Causing a disturbance. Which way did he go?
allegedly he went down to the sheriff's office.
Okay. It was just limited information, so we didn't know if you guys were being held hostage or what. So that's why we came in hard. We'll go find him. I know.
Over a mask. And then the fucker denies it to Freeman's face afterwards. Denied that he called them.
Yeah, we'll do what we can. Yeah. Huh? Oh, we know James. Okay. I know James personally. Okay. Everything okay?
Yeah, everybody's fine.
Wonderful.
Did you guys come for me?
Yeah. Turned into a mess.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna turn the video back on. I can go out there if you want, but I got the video back on just in case.
No.
You do think?
For what? So we got a call from the courthouse saying send help.
Urgent response. We didn't know if it was an active shooter or what, so that's
You came prepared for an active shooter? Like for real?
They didn't tell us anything other than get here as fast as you can.
The way they dispatched it. Yeah.
Yes.
So.
I'll go out there with this if you want.
You can explain it. You got the shield. Yeah, you got the
Yeah. It sounded.
We had no idea what to expect.
Okay, let me just say this.
Because he has no control over those sheriff deputies.
Shooter? Like for real?
They didn't tell us anything other than get here as fast as
The way they dispatched it.
I'll go out there with this if you want, though. I don't want to intrude on areas that should be private.
You can explain to them. You got the shield.
Yeah, you get the...
we had no idea what to expect.
Okay.
Let me just say this. We're not going to enforce any mask mandate in the courtroom or anywhere else. Okay? Just so you know.
I appreciate that, Sheriff.
All right.
We're not going to enforce any mask mandate in the courtroom or anywhere else. Okay?
I'm good
Just so
with
you
it.
know.
I appreciate that, Sheriff.
It just sounded like just Bennett, right? Bennett told the secretary, "Get me help now," and then it escalated when it got the dispatch. Well, by the time we got it, like all hell was breaking loose. That's why.
So you came code 3?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. All right.
Now that deputy's getting in trouble.
All right,
or
you two guys.
had some disciplinary
This
issues
is
over
only
his
the
hair.
beginning of this series. Myself and others have been back multiple times to follow up on this and are working on getting those videos published as well. Had Gordon Bennett kept his mouth shut and simply allowed the public to view public hearings, I never would have ended up stumbling upon how bad the entire 7th Judicial District really is. Mr. Bennett even spoke to me one of the times I went back and told me that it's illegal to cuss through text messages.
It shall be unlawful to threaten, harass, use a phone to do any of these things.
Okay.
Then you go to paragraph B. The mere use of rude, lewd, or profane language is prima facie evidence of intent to threaten, harass, ignore, or offend. So you meet all of the elements just by using the F word in a text.
Really?
That's
I'm gonna
what
text.
the law states.
I'm gonna text my lawyer. Fuck you right now. What do you think? What do you think? I'll do it right now in front of you. I'm gonna text my lawyer. Fuck you.
Lieutenant, I'm not doing anything.
Come on. Here. There's my lawyer. Come on. I'm gonna text him. Fuck you.
I just came out to say hello to the lieutenant.
All right. Well, you have a good one, Mr. Bennett.
Damn. Well, with that, I'm probably going to kill this stream for today. We're over 3.5 hours, so a couple good poker games. Might be back on later on tonight after I cover the night shift. Got a bunch of new people starting tonight, so thanks for hanging out, everybody. Yeah. Song to play. My way again.
Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Yo, I got a lot of shit to say, so I'ma do this every day. I'll be writing things until I'm fucking buried in my grave. 6 feet deep under, but my body won't decay. Cause my messages are timeless, so they'll put them on display. Oh yeah, I rap with a certainty, I have a sense me a message for eternity, for everyone internally. I had some people burning me, but now they fucking learn to see I ain't the one to fuck with. Now they looking nervously, and I don't really care what you think of me respectfully. You can kick rocks if you think you're fucking better. See, I will outwork you, turn you to an enemy. Hurt you so bad that you're gonna need some therapy. I got the motherfucking recipe. I've been cooking up hits, I'ma leave a legacy. You'll be looking small when you're standing right next to me. I'm 5'10", bitch, but I'm 10 feet next to me. I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want to make. Cause I don't give a fuck what you say. Yeah, I'ma do shit my way. So you can go kick rocks, I'ma stack bricks up, build what I want